Hey guys, how's it going? Morning. Let me go ahead and set up this room real quick, and then we can get started. So let me just set everything up real quick, and then we should be good to go. All right, looks like that's good. So you know, post this link up to the pages real quick, and then we should be ready to start taking these scalps right here. So guys, it is Friday. Happy Friday. I'm probably not going to truly trade much today. You know, obviously I don't really like to trade on Fridays, but if I do see something good, then yeah, I will take it. Yeah, market is just opening right now, literally. So let me go ahead and finish this room setup, and then I'll send this link out so we can get started. So here's US 30. Looks like there's a big spike up right here for this. And then we'll see how the market moves after. All right. So let me just send this link out real quick, guys, and we can be good to go. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Let me just type in the chat too. Type in the chat to unlock it. I think that's what we have to do. We have to type in the chat as it starts to unlock it. So let me just check this out real quick. Wow, look at that bullish move for US 30. I think it's shooting up like crazy. All right, so I'm sending this link out to all of the all the groups, and then after we have that, we can be ready to go. So let's send it to there, send it to the, so I'm looking at US 30 here. I'm trying to take, trying to see how far does this reject off. Hey Spencer, I think it's working now. Can you guys confirm? Because I see Eric, he sent a message, Eric Spencer. So it looks like the chat is working. If anyone can confirm that the chat's working, that'd be great. I do see Eric's message there, Flavor Flav. So I think it does work, Spencer. I'm just messaging you back, Spencer. I just saw your message. Let me send this video link to the social media pages, and we should be good to go. What the heck? Facebook took down my my stream yesterday. What the hell? It's weird. Yeah, I tried to log into Facebook, and they took down my my stream from yesterday. I guess I said something in the stream I was supposed to say. All right, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and send this link out to the rest of the members here as well. I've never seen that before. Usually it's like, you know, if you say something political or something like that. I wasn't talking about politics yesterday, unless you were talking because you were talking about Biden. I don't know. But yeah, looks like Facebook took down my live stream yesterday. It's fine. It's just weird. All right, send that there. And then last place is going to be the Instagram. So this candle right here is huge, guys. I'm not going to chase this candle. You know, like I always mention, you guys shouldn't chase these crazy spikes. This is why I don't normally trade Fridays. So if the market's going to keep moving like this, I'm probably not going to trade at all today. I'll give you guys trades and I'll look for trades, but I'm probably not going to take trades on my own account. And let me just check real quick. Yeah, if you guys sent me a message last night, I haven't gone to it yet. So just sit tight. I'll get to your guys' message eventually. You know, I'm going to be focused on this live stream first. So once I have some free time, then I'll go and check your guys' messages and emails. So let me just post this link to the Instagram real quick, and then we should. And look at that huge wick. So usually when this happens, guys, and there's a huge wick right there, it's probably going to come down. So I might take a little scalp down, like a speculative scalp, just, you know, a quick in and out. We'll see how that plays out. That's a huge wick though. All right, let me just post this up real quick to the Instagram. All right, looks like we're good to go. So yeah, link posted on all the social media. Let's see how big this wick was. Yeah, it's a huge wick. So if this closes right here, then I'm going to anticipate it to drop substantially, not a crazy amount, but, you know, pretty substantially, at least like 500 pips. So we'll see how far it drops. I mean, it keeps bouncing around so much, so like we don't really know where it's going to close at. There's still 4 minutes on this candle, so there's I mean, there's a good chance that it pushes back up. There's a good chance that it pushes like down even further. So I'll just keep watching it, and then I'm probably going to. You guys don't have to take this trade. This is just something I'm going to take on my own. It's just a speculative, like small sell. I'm just trying to, because I've seen situations like this where it plays out pretty nicely. So I'm going to take a look. We got about 3 minutes left on this candle. Once it closes, I'll probably take this scalp right here if you guys want to take it with me. Check my messages real quick. All right, let me check this out real quick. Yeah, Raymar, I'm gonna send you the link real quick. Let me get the Zoom link, and I'll send it over to you guys. Looks like someone's already in here. Jensel's in here. All right, let me send out this link real quick, and then you guys can hop into the Zoom meeting too. All right, guys, I sent out the link in the premium group for you guys, in the premium for the Zoom. So you guys have real time. You guys won't have this little delay. You guys have about 2 minutes left on this candle. So this candle closes, like I mentioned, I'll probably taking this as well. So the Zoom link was just sent out, guys, if you guys want to hop in. Hey, morning, Eric. Morning, Saquon. Morning, Matt. Morning, Karen. Morning, Spencer. Morning, Lajine. Sorry if I butchered your name. So this is a see me. Looks like we had a small internet connection. It's raining here in California. Whenever it rains here, there's usually with the internet. It rarely rains here, so when when that happens, I don't know. There's something wrong with the internet, guys. So I think I should be back online. If any of you guys can confirm in the chat. Hey, morning, John. It looks like I disconnected for a slight second, but looks like I'm back. So morning, everybody. What I'm looking for right here on the US 30s, I'm looking for a possible scalp downwards. And this is a speculative scalp, guys. So I'm going to be taking this trade right here for a sell. I'm just waiting for it to close. It's got about 45 seconds left in this candle. I'm going to be taking a short position right here for just a little scalp. It's a quick little scalp. Damn, this thing's going all over the place. So we got about 20 seconds left on this candle. Once it closes, I'm probably going to take a really quick little scalp on this. Nice. Eric's scored an easy 700 on a scalp. Nice, nice, bro. So I'm going to take this real quick and see how it plays out. You guys don't have to take this if you guys don't want to. This is just a, like I mentioned, a speculative scalp. Nothing really concrete about this trade. Look at that. And I hate MC4, guys. I really hate MC4. I took the trade and it's not letting me execute. Why? All right, so there we go. So I'm now currently in the trade. And like I mentioned, guys, you guys don't have to take this trade. This is just a speculative scalp. I'm taking it because I'm just going off what I've been noticing lately. So my stop loss is 31,458. What's the spread like, or the price difference? That's only five pips. It's nothing too crazy. So 458. TP is going to be 31358. Three one four five eight. All right, cool. Looks pretty solid for the most part. But yeah, I just took like speculative sell. It's not based off any entry, guys. It's just I saw something, so I decided to take it. But I mean, we'll see how it plays out. There's no guarantee this is going to work or that it's going to, that or it's not. We'll see how it plays out, and then after that, I'm going to start looking for some actual scalps. So that was just me messing around with that trade. Now I'm going to draw some zones so we can actually, take some real scalps. All right, so let me just draw this up here. So if you guys want to take that trade, it's currently active. It's currently at entry. And then we'll see how it plays out. Let me just set some alerts here. Scalp number 1, full TP. Scalp number 1. So, all right, so it's in profit right now. It's looking pretty good so far. All right, got these zones up. That looks like we're good to go. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in on this right here. This is a trade I just called the scalp. It's currently in profit, it looks good. And the cool thing about this is that if and when this drops, so say it drops right here, and then say it comes back up to retest, we'll have another scalp entry right there. So I'm gonna double up on my trades. And then, yeah, should be good. So that trade I just called right now, it's currently in profit right here. I'm in profit about 200 bucks. It's not bad, pretty good so far. I'm in profit like about 20 or 200 pips almost. So just letting that run right now, guys. Let me go see if there's anything else to look at before, we continue. Let me check the chat out. No, Dilraj, it's not the strategy. This is something that I just real quick that I started to notice. The new strategies, it's a bit different. There's a lot of different things that go into that new strategy. So I need to create a new indicator. Like it doesn't work with any of the current indicators. I mean, it does. For the specific thing I'm looking for, my logic doesn't fit any of the indicators I currently have. So I need to create a brand new indicator for that one. So it's not the new strategy. Let me see if there's anything else over here real quick. So let's see, everyone's asking for the Zoom link. Yeah, guys, so if you guys are in the premium, you guys will have the Zoom link there. So you guys can just hop on there if you want to see my trades real time. But if you guys have questions, obviously the questions are going to have to come through the YouTube because I'm not going to look at the Zoom. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys have any questions. Nice. Eric said he scored an easy 700 on a scalp. He made 1.2K. Nice, Eric. Congrats. I know you got to make back that 30K. Here we go. It's dropping right here. It's on its way to full TP. We're halfway there already. I'm in profit. Let's see. I'm in profit about 300 bucks. So looks good so far. Yeah, if you guys took that trade, it looks pretty solid. I'm just waiting for the next the next scalp so I can, you know, stack on another position to that. Oh yeah, our odd NZD right here hit TP2 last night for I think 27 pips. There we go, 27 pips right there, TP2. So congrats to you guys, whoever took that trade right there. Setting that update for you guys over here real quick. So I just sent you guys this update for this trade right here, for this odd NZD, hit TP2 for 27 pips. Before that to the other groups as well. I think that's about it. So that's one of the trades we had active last night. It was odd NZD. And then I think we close it off with this one right here. This is the last one that's actually still active. I don't even remember what the entry was for this. But let me check this real quick. What is this, Euro odd? It's still in profit. But if you guys saw me yesterday, I actually closed this one and I closed this out in profit the previous day. So we had that right there. I think it was 55 pips. Yeah, so this trade's technically still active right now. I can't remember where we entered this, but it is active right there. I'm assuming we enter this. I don't even know. We enter this trade on the 9th. Okay, so I'm assuming it was right here. There we go. So this is, we only have two positions that are currently active now for Forex. We have a Euro odd sell, it's currently in profit, and Euro and odd NZD, that's also in profit right here. I'm still in this US 30 position. It's still bouncing around right there. It's such a messy, it's a messy trade. So we'll see how this ends up playing out here. Let's see. Jeremy said, how do you create the red zones with a K2 indicator, or do you look at the last wick? We use the K2 indicator, Jeremy. So, I mean, I'll redraw the zones here for you. It's really simple. It's, you know, I'll take these off right here. You have to use a K2 indicator. I mean, you can draw your own zones, but your zones are probably not going to be in the proper place because, you know, it's a common mistake that a lot of people do is they draw zones in the wrong places. Like, for example, you know, if you zoom out from here, there's a ton of places you can place zones, right? Like you can place zones at the wick. If you really wanted to, you can do that. But then you don't know if this reaches from there, or does it reach up there, right? This is usually what people do when they draw zones. They see a big wick and they're like, oh yeah, that's a zoned area. So they try to draw zones in these areas. But as you can see, there's a bunch of wicks here. So a lot of people place their zones in the wrong places. Like they don't know exactly where to place the zones, because technically this can be a zone here, this can be a zone here. I mean, this can be a zone here. There's so many zones, right? Because there's wicks all over the place. And you know, I take the guesswork out by using the K2SR indicator. So what I do is I turn on the K2SR indicator and the zone's already there. So there's no guesswork there because literally I already know the zone's there because my algorithm plots it for me. So I know there's a zone there, but you can see right here that other people would probably put their zone above here, above here. I mean, there's a lot of places where you can place zones. Like they can just block off this whole area here and this will be a big zone. But that's most of the times they're on the proper places. That's why I use the K2SR indicator to plot them for me. So we got another one there. Another one right there. Another one right there. So if this candle closes like this is going to be a risky entry because it actually provides for a buy entry for a normal scalp that we take. So there's the zones right there. Going back to what I was just mentioning, this is going to conflict with our scalp strategy, right? Because there's actually a buy scalp right here if it closes like this within the next 40 minutes. So I'm debating if I should take both positions or if I should pull out of this one. I mean, we'll wait and see. Generally, I don't like to take trades when it's like right after market open because obviously this is a huge manipulated candle, right? Look at this big wick. It's dropped like 600 pips from this wick right here and then hopping into this position here. So this is technically a scalp, guys. If you guys want to take this scalp, it's going to be the opposite of the speculative trade that I took right here. I probably should just exited that one in profit because technically this would be another scalp right here if you guys wanted to take it. So I'm going to hold off on this scalp here, guys, because I'm still in this sell right here. And, you know, like I mentioned, I don't like to take trades like right after a market open. I like to give it some time to breathe before I take any trades. So there's two conflicting trades here. There's a speculative sell that I called right here, which I'm probably going to close soon. And then we have the scalp trade that's actually right here. This is an actual scalp trade right here. So just keep that in mind with these two over here. But yeah, I'm not going to take a scalp trade, even though it's currently active right now. And you can see right there that it's actually going back in the other direction because generally there's a lot of manipulation off the first hour after open. So like right here, these candles right here are probably going to be all manipulated from this point up until here. So this whole area right here is probably going to be some manipulated candles. So I'm not taking that scalp in the other way. I'm still going to hold on to my original position, and I'll probably close it out once we get some profit off that. Hey Samurai, how's it going, bro? Morning. Yeah, let me go ahead and see how this plays out right here. Well, this is, I mean, we'll see which strategy is. We'll see like which one works best like on market open, because obviously the scalping strategy works well. I saw that someone mentioned this sell at midnight yesterday. So if you guys took this scalp right here, if I go and rewind this to this candle, this was an actual scalp right here as well, because we had the rejection off the actually it looks like it doesn't reject off the pivot. It was rejecting off after it closed. But so if I go to the next one here, if you go here, it looks like it did close out. So I'm not sure if anyone took the trade there, but if you guys did take that trade, it looks like it would have hit, full TP right there. That's the problem with like back testing it and forward testing it, because the candles look different at different times. So if you did take that trade there, it looks like it would have hit full TP. I forgot who mentioned it in the chat, but it technically did. But if you go back and zoom out, if you go back and retest it, it looks like it didn't touch the pivot. So depending on when you took it, if you entered late, like if you entered into the next candle already, then yeah, you would have caught that trade. But if not, then you probably would have skipped it. So here's price coming back down right here. Nice. What's up, David? D-Rez. Looks like you're off work. Would you guys have another snow day? I still find it funny that you have snow days over there. I can never imagine having a shovel of snow, thankfully. All right, so it's dropping back down. See how it's dropping like this, guys? That's why I didn't take this scalp right here, because the market's being crazy manipulated right now. So hopefully you guys didn't take that scalp, but like I mentioned, I explained why I didn't take it for that specific reason, because generally the first hour of market open is usually going to be a bit manipulated. So until price passes this little area right here, then I'll start taking some scalps. Meanwhile, I'm probably just going to keep watching as things move around. So I'm going to delete that scalp because I'm not even in that scalp. It's just one that I called earlier. I'm still in this position though, the speculative sell here. And here's another reason too, guys. So like I mentioned yesterday, or like every other session, I usually like to scalp when the market's moving smooth, right? So when price is moving smoothly above like this, then I'll take these scalps. Like for example, here, we have a nice rejection off here. And if I rewind to this place, we have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure right there, perfect rejection off that green candle. So with that said, after I see that, I take my long position right here, and then I ride this up for 500 pips, right? And it's as simple as that. The only problem is when you start doing this, when the market's choppy, so like there you go, it ends up hitting full TP. It takes some time, but it does hit full TP, right? So we have that entry there. There's actually another entry. There's a couple entries here. Another one right over here, this green one. If I rewind that to there as well, there's another entry right there. Rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure, long position right here. And then if you were to let this run, obviously, Obviously full TP right there, right? So you guys can see that there's a lot of good entries here if you apply this when the market is actually moving smoothly, like how it is right here. This is moving smoothly. This is choppy. So generally, if I zoom out from here, you guys can see it's pretty easy to see. It's moving smoothly up here. It's super choppy, right? Or it's smoothly down. And then this is where it gets choppy because it keeps crossing over. You see, when you see the pivots keep crossing over and they're not even, then this is too choppy. I would avoid this right here. And then again, the same situation over here as we continue to move up. This is smooth. And then if I close out of here, you guys can see the huge difference. Smooth up, smooth down, smooth up, choppy. This is super choppy. I wouldn't scalp within this area. And then again, right here, it's trying to smoothen up, but it's not really working that well. So guys, I think I'm going to close this position in profit. So this position right here, I'm going to close this in profit right now because the market just seems kind of all over the place. So I don't really want to risk it. I'm just watching it right now. I'm going to try to lock in about a couple $100, about $200 right here. And I'm out. So I close out of my position right here, guys. For this one, I'm going to take off my alerts because I'm not using it anymore. If you guys want to close out of it, you guys can. If you guys want to hold on to it, you guys are more than welcome. I just don't feel safe with holding it with price bouncing back and forth so often, and the conflicting position. So for example, here we have the scalp up, and then we have this speculative sell here that I took. And personally, I don't like when there's conflicting positions. If they're both buys, then I'll hold on to it. If they're both sells, I'll hold on to it. But right now, since there's a buy and a sell, I close out of this in profit. Let me see how much did I make off that trade. Made about 149. Not like a crazy amount because I took a small lot size. But I'd rather have 149 profit than have 500 loss, right? So just keep that in mind. It is Friday too. Market does move weird on Fridays. And I generally don't even trade on Fridays. So just be careful with this. Anyways, it's still running. If you guys have it, it's actually deeper in profit. I probably should just held on to it a little longer. But it's all good. I already confirmed with you guys that I did close my position and that I'm just going to watch it from here. So it's dropping further. And you guys can see, I identified this right on market open. I identified that this huge wick right here, it's probably going to come in pushing the opposite direction. But here's the kicker, look, because there's a huge wick right here. There's also a huge wick on this side. So there's a lot of uncertainty. Generally, you want huge wicks on one side, not on both. Because this is about 250 pips and this is about 600 pips right here. So it's a very, very risky trade. I personally recommend closing it. If you guys want to risk it, if you guys took a small lot size and you guys aren't risking too much, you guys can play it out. But when I say small lot size on my end, I'm talking about like a standard lot. So it's not really a small lot size. It's just a small lot size for what I'm like normally trading. All right, so it's still playing out right there. Let me see if there's any other questions in the chat. If you guys have anything. Hey, Maury Merciba. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the YouTube chat. I can analyze any pair for you guys, or if you guys want me to cover anything specific, I can do that too. There's just not much to really look at today. It is Friday. So I will look at I'll look at all the pairs here. I'll just go down the watch list and I'll see if there's anything that, really stands out. Odd CAD right here. This is a position that I was looking at yesterday, but I had a feeling it was going to reverse, which it did because, like I mentioned, it is Friday. So nothing there. Our odd NZD is still in profit right here. Let me just update this so that the alert's cool. All right, yeah, the odd NZD hit CP on that, so that's good. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Eric said, better set a limit on how much you're willing to lose if you're going to scalp when you open. It can get bad very quickly. Yeah, I agree, Eric. That's why I exited my trade for sure. Here, let me see if there's anything else real quick. All right, so Renee wants me to take a look at Nasdaq 100. So I'll take a look at Nasdaq 100 real quick. So let's pull up Nasdaq over here. I'm going to go on the 1 hour time frame. And this is what I analyzed earlier, right? So, or yesterday. So yesterday I mentioned that I wouldn't take I said it was going to range in between these two zones, that's exactly what's happening right here. So it's ranging between these two zones right here. I mentioned that I wouldn't take any buys until it broke and closed past this structure right here. I'll reanalyze it from scratch, but I'm just going to go over my analysis from yesterday because it's doing exactly what I mentioned, right? So I mentioned that I wouldn't take any buys until it crossed and close above there, or any sells unless it crossed and closed below here. I said it was going to range sideways until that happened, and look what happened. It did exactly what I mentioned. It's ranging between this zone and this zone right here. So until price closes above or below here, then I probably wouldn't take any trades off Nasdaq. But I'm going to go ahead and analyze this from scratch just to show you guys, what I was necessarily looking for. Wow. So that first scalp that I called this morning for US 30, I'll just put it an alert there so that you guys can see that it actually hits. So there's that first trade that I called earlier, guys. It's about to hit full TP, it looks like. Scalp, full TP. I'll send an alert there so we can come back and take a look at it. But like I mentioned earlier, guys, with US 30, see how choppy it is right here? I wouldn't trade right here. Even right here, it keeps crossing over. It crosses up, then it crosses down, then it crosses up, then it crosses back down. It's just too uncertain for me to want to take these trades. And this is why I haven't set up an actual demonstrational video yet for the new scalping strategy, because the problem with this is that there's a lot of things that still come up. But yeah, let me go back to Nasdaq. I'm gonna finish analyzing this from scratch for Renee. Let me just delete everything off the chart. So here's a naked chart for the Nasdaq. What I do first is I turn on the K2SR indicator. And then the reason for that is I want to draw these rejection points on the chart so that I can get a bigger picture as to what's happening with the Nasdaq right now. So I want to see a bigger picture as to where it's been rejecting from, and then on top of that, I want to use this as a confirmation to determine when and where I'll be trading if I was to trade this. I don't trade Nasdaq, so I'm not an expert at this, but I will analyze it the same way I do everything else, because if you guys have been with K2 for a while, you guys have seen that my analysis works on anything. It works on Forex, it works on indices, it works on futures, it works on commodities like gold, and it works on cryptos and etc. So just showing you guys an example here. Those zones have been drawn. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And then you guys can see that I just drew these zones from today, which is February 12th. And then you can see that these same zones have been tested way back since January. So it initially broke into the structure in January. It came up slightly, then it dropped from here in like late January, then it swung back up. So just looking at current price right now, I mean, obviously Nasdaq is an all-time high, so it doesn't really have much structure above this area. But we'll zoom in from this point right here. This is probably the most important point because it's currently in an uptrend. I'll turn on the momentum indicator right here so that we can get a bias with regard to what direction to trade. So with this right here, we have a sell signal that's most recent, right? You can see that generally when we have a sell signal like that or a buy signal, it generally continues in that direction. So for example, here we have quite a few rejections from this point. We have a rejection from there. We have a rejection from here. So I guess this would possibly considered, a nice rejection off this upper structure right here. We have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rejections from there. And then on top of that, we have this sell signal right here. So the next key of what we're looking for here is whether price closes below this structure here, because if price ends up closing below this structure here, then odds are it can possibly push down even further. The main key is for it to close down here. If it closes down here, then we might be able to see some sort of free fall, because you can see the last time it attempted to cross right here, it did the same thing, right? There was a rejection from this point. There was a sell signal right here. It attempted to break past these structures right here, but it failed. So it can possibly break below this structure, and then it'll attempt to break below here. But until it breaks below here, we're probably not going to see any substantial drop, because obviously it's just in a range right here. So obviously it shot up from here, retraced, shot up from here, retraced. It's just a clean trend up from this area here, right? So from this area here, it was actually trending up pretty smoothly. So from this point up until there, nice trend up, and then it went into consolidation right here. So it's literally just been ranging down this entire area right here. So one of two things can happen. Price can either come down from this point, or price can reverse from this point and close above here. So it's the same analysis that I just went over, shortly prior. Basically, what we're looking for here is we're waiting for price to break out of this range, because price is just ranging sideways right now. It's just going to the side from this point. So if you zoom out, it's a lot easier to see. You can see that it's literally just going sideways. So until it breaks above here and closes, then it'll probably continue up higher. Otherwise, if it breaks below here, it'll probably continue down this direction. So just keep that in mind for the Nasdaq. It's kind of hard to really tell what's going to happen with this, meanwhile, until something actually happens. Because so for one, it's at an all-time high. This is the all-time high right here, right? This is all-time high. And what I like to do is I like to go to the IG sentiment. Let me open this over here real quick. So generally what I like to do is I like to open the IG sentiment. And then what I do from that point is I like to see where everyone's trading. So I'm going to go to IG sentiment as 100. So we can see where all of the retail traders are trading. So here's IG sentiment for Nasdaq. So it's pretty flat, right? So there's only 51% of people short. It's not lopsided. So when it's 50-50 like that, then this is just going to go sideways, right? Because there's no majority. I mean, it's a small majority of 1%, but it's not a big majority. So for example, here, the market makers and institutions, they want to push price the opposite retail traders. So like, for example, here, there's only 51% of people short. They want this to be like 60% of people or 70% of people or 80% of people. So if there's a lot of people trading short, then what do you think is going to happen in the market? It's not going to go down, right? It's going to go up, because the institutions and market makers make money off these specific assets when they stop these retail traders out, because obviously majority of retail traders fail at trading because the big banks and stuff are trading opposite of us, right? That's why you don't want to trade it in that direction. You want to trade where less people are trading. So for example, here for Nasdaq, like this is an even bigger confirmation that Nasdaq is just going to range sideways, because there's just no incentive for the institutions and banks to push price up or down, because they can push price up and then another bank will just push price down, or they can push price down and then another bank will just push it up, right? They're not going to win unless there's majority of traders on one side or the other. So like for this here on Nasdaq, I just see this moving pretty much sideways until, like I mentioned before, until it breaks like far down here, or unless it breaks like far up here. That's when we will get like a better confirmation off this. Because it's just going sideways. And you guys can see here, it's been going sideways for a long time. It's been going sideways since, let's see, it broke into this range on February 5th. So like about last week, it was bullish from here up until here, and then it just started going sideways. So about February 9, probably like earlier this week. Here, let me see if there's anything else here real quick before I continue on. So yeah, that's pretty much my analysis for NZDU at Nasdaq 100. What I'll do next is I'll look at some scalp entries here as well, and I'll show you, if we see anything here. I know Nasdaq's been moving pretty crazy, so I'm not sure if anyone scalped Nasdaq last night, but I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones over here on this 10-minute. And then just see, or we'll go on the 30-minute first, okay? So we'll go on the 30-minute first and see if there's any scalps here that were available, and then we'll go on the shorter time frames just to see how this played out. So like for example, right here on Nasdaq 100, we have damn, look how messy this Nasdaq was for this entire week. A huge drop here, some huge wicks. This was on the 10th. So on the 10th, some huge wicks right here, and then again this morning. So on open right here, look at this huge wick. It's like 500 pips. So this is probably something that I personally wouldn't scalp because of how it's moving, right? I think what I would do is I'd, like how I mentioned before, I like to wait for it to smoothen out. Like for example, right here, it's smooth going down, it's smooth going up, then it gets choppy, then it's like, it just goes back to being choppy. If you go back over here, so if I zoom out from this point and turn off the zones, you can see from these points right here, when it's smooth, you can see there's a lot of scalp entries right there that are available. Choppy, smooth, like smooth up, sort of smooth down, not really, it's still choppy, sort of smooth up, and then just choppy all through this entire area. So I know a lot of you guys took some scalps on yesterday. So I think there was one right here that was actually available. And I'll just use this for an example to show you guys, what we look for here at K2 when we scalp using the K2 snipe strategy, which is a super simple strategy. And it's like pretty much the most profitable one for everyone so far recently. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this. And I'm just going to show you guys an example here of what we were looking for when the market was moving, somewhat decent compared to how it's moving now. So for example, right here on this, we have the rejection off this. And this is one that we looked at yesterday, right? CT, I think CT sent me this and we went over this on the live because CT called this right here. Yeah, this was yesterday at 6:30 a.m. CT, he actually identified this. It's a rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. We would take a long position right here. And I think the sweet spot was like 250 pips, right? So about 250 pips right there. If you were to take that trade for a buy, looks like it went straight to TP right there. So that's exactly what we were looking for right here. Comparing that to current price right now, it's just way too choppy. Technically, it looks like there's possibly some entries right here. Like this is possibly a scalp entry for a sell, but it's not something that I would take, even though it looks like a decent entry because of how choppy the market is currently. Technically, if you wanted to take this trade, this would be a scalp right now. But it's not necessarily one that, I'll be like jumping in to take because it's just such a messy trade. So I personally would stay away from scalping Nasdaq right now until things smoothen out. Just the same with like US 30. And then even looking here on the 10-minute, it's even more choppier. So like right here, it's smooth moving up and then it's super choppy throughout this whole area. It's a smooth move up right here. And then it just gets choppy all throughout this whole period right here from like the 11th up until current date. So if we go back to, let's go back to like this area here and see if there was any scalps. And it looks like there were some perfect scalps right here for the Nasdaq. So like if you were trading here on the 10th, which is 2 days ago, the market was moving a little smoother. So like, for example, here, if we were to, let me see if there's any entries here. Yeah, if we were to scalp within this area where price is moving smooth, you can see it's moving smooth because if you zoom in, the pivots start to spread out and they start to push upwards, right? This is choppy. This is a nice move up. This is a nice move down. This is choppy. This is a nice move down right here. So using this as an example, we have this wick right here that rejects off the pivot and rejects off the structure off this point. So looking at that right there, we take our long position right here. It's the same parameters that I just mentioned, 250 pips. And then, yeah, obviously if you let this run, it would have filled the order and then it would have went straight to TP right there. So this is what you're looking for. You're looking for some smooth markets and you're looking for, something to move properly. Looking at the Nasdaq right now, it's just way too choppy right here. Right? It's like super choppy. It's just a mess. Like literally it's just a mess. And that's why I wouldn't want to trade it. I'm glad I got out of that US 30 position because it looks like the entire market for indices is pretty messy this morning. It's been pretty messy this entire week, but I think this morning especially, it's been pretty choppy. Is there news going on today, guys? Sorry, I didn't even check. That's one thing that I've been slacking on, following up on news. So today, the G7 meeting is all day today. So this could be affecting the market. Let me check CNBC to see if there's anything there as well. Looks like all of the indices are down right now. There's also Trump's impeachment that's going on right now as well. So there's actually a lot of stuff going on in the world that's causing stuff to move. Right here we have this news update 5 minutes ago. S&P slips a record as February's rally stalls out for the week. So it looks like everything's pretty much just going sideways as market just stalls for the most part. So we do have Trump's impeachment going on right now. This actually just updated right now, about 10 minutes ago. So his impeachment's going on. I don't know if this is affecting the market, but even right here, it shows that the S&P is just going sideways. So if everything is just flat or bouncing back and forth, I'd expect the same thing for US 30 as well. So just looking at this here, I'll just draw some zones to see if there's any possible scalps that we possibly could have taken, even though I wouldn't have taken them. And then we can just look to see if there's anything there. So let me just delete all this stuff right here. Another zone right there. And yeah, this even clears up the picture even more. You guys can see how smooth this move up is. Choppy, smooth up, choppy, literally just choppy, this whole area right here. So this whole area right here is pretty much choppy, right? This whole area right here, lots of choppiness right there. And look at this spike up right here. So this is why I was mentioning not to take these trades, because look at this spike up. Price opened right here. It spiked down like 500 pips. And then from this point, it spiked up like 600 pips. And then now it's just spiking back and forth. So technically there were some scalp entries right here, but obviously we wouldn't take it. And this just goes back to what I mentioned earlier too. I mentioned after market open, we usually wait like about an hour. So market opened right here, 6:30. So about 7:30 right here. This is like the time where you don't want to take any trades because it just keeps bouncing back and forth, right? After this happens, and it'll probably smoothen out a little bit and we could possibly take some scalps. But until then, I'm gonna hold off on that. So that's pretty much my analysis for Nasdaq. I personally would just stay away from it. And if you're looking on the higher time frame, it's just going to go sideways this way until it breaks above or until it breaks below. So yeah, no problem, Renee. Hopefully that helps your analysis of Nasdaq. But I personally would just stay away from it. Meanwhile, until it finishes doing what it's currently doing. So let me go back right here and let's go back to US 30. So if you guys are still in that scalp that I called earlier this morning, it's in profit. But like I mentioned, I exited the trade because of this, just the horrible market conditions, right? Market conditions are crazy right now. It's not something that I would want to risk. First of all, it's Friday. Second of all, a G7 meeting is going on. Third of all, Trump's impeachment is going on. And fourth of all, there's confirmation here that the indices are just stalled out for the end of the week. So there's like 4 warnings right there telling me not to trade, indices right now. So if you guys, take that into consideration, it's probably best for you to just sit out the market and just, wait for something good to come up, or just sit out the market entirely for the day. But I'm still here to help you guys out and answer your questions if that's the case. So let me see anything else over here as well. All right, so Samurai wants me to take a look at GJ. So let me pull up GJ real quick. I'll go over here to the Forex chart, pull up GBP, JPY. So we were looking at this earlier in the week, Samurai. I don't know. I'm sure you were here. Yeah, you were here yesterday, Samurai. But earlier this week, so I mentioned this, not even this week. I mentioned it like a couple of weeks ago, right here on the 28th. It's the same strategy that, we've been discussing. Like basically I was identifying this as a rejection right here. I identified this as the buy signal. I mentioned that whenever price breaks and closes past the structure, it pushes up even higher, right? So for example, right here, price broke and closed past structure. And then after it broke and closed past structure, it shot up to the next structure right here, right? As soon as it broke structure again right here, it's the same thing, pushes up to the next structure. Broke structure again right here, same thing. And what do you think happens here? It's the same exact thing that I mentioned. So I analyzed this back late January. And I mentioned that once it broke structure right here, it's going to push up all the way to this next structure. And that's exactly what's happening right here. So it played out perfectly, like we mentioned. And it still hasn't finished its move. It still has about, I wish I took this trade because I did call this for you guys. And I wish I took it from this point, because if I did, this would be so much profit right here. It'd be in profit like 200, at least 220 pips right now. Full move is about 270 pips right there. So it looks like it played out, perfectly fine off this point. What I'll do is I'll analyze this from scratch again. So we'll just do a fresh brand new analysis, and then I'll just, redraw the zones and then show you guys exactly, what I was looking for and what I found with regard to my analysis. So I'll just hide this first. I'll zoom out from here. There's our naked chart. I'll turn on the K2SR indicator, and then I'll do the same thing I did for Nasdaq. I'll do the same thing I do for any other pair. I draw my zones first so that I can identify the rejection points. And it's real simple. Like you guys can see here that I'm able to analyze these charts within like, a few seconds. It doesn't take me very long to analyze anything, whether it be Forex, whether it be indices, whether it be commodities, whether it be crypto, whether it be anything, stocks, et cetera, et cetera. Because I have these, these indicators that I've developed that make things a whole lot easier. Because obviously if you're drawing zones for every single pair, it's going to take you a long time. But yeah, pretty much right here for GJ, we have this set up right here. Next up, we want the upper zone, right? We want something higher to identify where the ceiling is going to be. So nothing there. On the daily, we go on the weekly, and there goes our ceiling. So at that point right here, we have our ceiling right there. I'll go back to the 4-hour chart, and it's the same situation right here. This is actually going to provide for another buy entry actually if this closes in the next 2 hours. However, I personally wouldn't take it because it is Friday, market's going to close, and we don't necessarily like holding trades into the weekend. So it's the same pattern that I've been emphasizing this whole time. So like, for example, this trade started down here. We had the rejection off the structure. We had the buy signal indicating momentum swing upwards. We had the break and close past structure right here, pushed up to this point, and I can just, I could keep repeating this over and over again. It's the same strategy that just keeps repeating itself. Again, right there, broke structure. Again, right there, and it works both ways, right? Right here, we had the rejection off this structure. We had the sell signal right here, and then it pushed down to this structure. Repeat of what happened earlier, rejection off this structure, buy signal right here, breaking close past structure. It's the same exact thing that just keeps playing out. So, what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm simplifying trading for a lot of you guys, because a lot of people want to overcomplicate trading. Reality, it's super simple, right? I mean, again, here, it's the same pattern, rejection off this structure. We have the buy signal right here. And then here's a break and close past structure. So if price ends up breaking, closing past this structure, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to push up higher and test this structure right here before it either, rejects off it, or if it continues higher. So it can either continue higher from this point, or it can reject off this point right here and come back down. There's two scenarios that can play out there. But our bias here for GJ is that it's going to continue up. It's just the same pattern repeating itself. Rejection, buy signal, breaking structure, push up, breaking structure and close, push up, breaking structure and close, push up, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same thing applying, being reapplied over and over again. So for GJ here, I do have a bullish bias. And yeah, we'll see how it plays out. So let's go back to US 30. Looks like it's still pushing down, guys. It's about to hit full TP right here. So it does look, it looks good for the most part. If you guys are still in the scalp that I called earlier, looks like it's playing out exactly how I mentioned. And just a reminder, guys, if you guys are still in here in the Zoom, I can't see any of your messages, guys. So if you guys have any questions, put them in the YouTube channel, and then I can take a look over there. Like, you guys can talk to each other on the Zoom, but I won't be able to see them. So if you guys have questions, make sure to put them on the YouTube, and then I can answer your questions there, because I just don't have access to opening it on here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and close this real quick. Let's see. Samurai said, nice price action around that zones on GJ, your system performing well. Thank you for your input, K2. Yeah, no problem, Samurai. It does look pretty good right there. Some price action going on over there. And I could definitely see that. If it closes above there, then I could see it, pushing up even higher. So that's pretty much it for that. Let me go ahead and take a look at the chat, see if there's anything else for me to look at before we continue. Samurai said, I guess the trades where the distance between the zones is biggest offer the best opportunity. Yeah, exactly, Samurai. Like, for example, here, the same system that I was looking at here, generally, if I see if there's a decent move here, like I see a break structure here, and there's at least a 25 pip gain, I'll take that trade, or I'll move, I'll try to catch that move upwards. This is even better when it breaks above here and there's like a opportunity of like 90 to 100 pips. I'll definitely take this. Places where I'll be a little careful are kind of like this right here. Like, even though it does break structure right here, it's kind of tight, right? So if I was to take this trade, actually I would take this because it's like 40 pips. I'm looking for something that's a little tighter. Okay, so this is an actual, no, it's the same thing too. Price break structure right here. And then there's still a pretty decent gap right there, about 40 pips. So literally, if you just kept applying the strategy over and over again, I was like 40 pips there, 40 pips there, 40 pips there, 40 pips there, 100 pips there, and it just keeps repeating itself. I'm trying to look for a bad entry so that I can show where I wouldn't enter. Right here again, entry. It's another 40 pips. So like 40 pips, 40 pips, 40 pips. I wish I took all these trades here, because it looks like it works out like perfectly fine. Another 40 pips there. Okay, so this is an example right here, right? So price broke structure, but it's already halfway to the next zone. So from this point right here, I probably would have skipped this trade because it's only a gain of like 30 pips. I mean, technically I might have taken it, but it's just too risky for me to want to take it because I would have to get in and out before it ends up reversing off this structure right here. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, it does work pretty decent overall, especially in the higher time frames. So Samurai also mentioned FX Book has a good sentiment chart that covers all broker sentiment. Oh, nice. So let me check that out real quick. I've never looked at that. Let me see FX Book, US 30 sentiment. I'm trying to find it, Samurai. I don't see it on here. So I see here, I'm just pull it up over here for you guys on my chart. So I looked up my FX Book US 30 sentiment. I don't really see anything. I mean, I see this right here, community outlook. Is that what it is? Because I know that daily FX, they pull the data from IG sentiment. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so yeah, so this has the only problem with this is that these are like community like people actually like when they have their positions set up with my FX Book, these are like their positions on here. The only difference is that on IG sentiment, it's the actual broker. I'm not sure if I'm looking at the one that you were referring to, Samurai. I might be on the wrong page, but I don't really see US 30 on here. Yeah, that's weird. I know these are all user submitted, or you know, if they have their thing connected on there. Let's see. Yeah, you know, I don't really see anything here. I mean, I do see certain pairs. I see like the Forex pairs, obviously, but you know, I would want to be focused on like the indices since that's what I normally trade. Yeah, I don't see anything on here. Let me see if I go back. Maybe it's on a different page. Because I know daily FX they have it too. They have this, but this is all pulled from IG sentiment, so it's the same thing that we're already looking for. Let me check the chat real quick to see if. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, no. So Samurai mentioned that it's only for Forex pairs. That makes sense. Yeah, because I've looked here before on daily FX. It's the same data that's for IG sentiment. So I don't need. I just go to like directly to IG sentiment. But yeah, I do see that how you mentioned the my FX Book is just FX pairs, which is cool. I mean, it works too. You know, if you want to look at that as well. But I would stick to probably IG sentiment. But thanks for the tip, Samurai. So let's see. Let's go back to. Yeah, no, definitely Samurai. Yeah, good to know. I mean, it's good to know. Like, it's a good secondary resource to like look that up in the future. Hold on, let me just I'm gonna open my window. It's hot in here. All right, perfect. Looks like it stopped raining over here, so hopefully my internet connection goes back to normal. But yeah, guys, this US 30 scalp right here is still technically active. If this closes right here with this, we got about a minute left on this. So if this closes right here, I might take this for a scalp, guys. Right here. So if you guys are watching, I'm probably going to take this scalp right here. This is going to be another, because it's in the sell, in the direction of the other sell. And it looks like it can play out pretty nicely if it does end up playing out here. So let me just take a look at this over here. Yeah, looks like I'm going to take this sell scalp. We have about a minute left on the candle. Let me get my FTMO ready because FTMO likes to screw with me sometimes and not execute my orders. All right, so this looks pretty solid. Looks like one that I would take. Let's see how many pips is it from this other full TP. You know, I took a sell for my other one, and then I'll take a. I'm gonna push up a little bit. All right, so I have a first one right here. I'm gonna set TP stop loss. Let's see, the first TP is 31335. Stop loss. All right, guys, so I'm 2 seconds left. 1 second. All right, guys, I'm in the trade. So I'm in the trade for that one right there. Let me just fix this real quick. Took this little scalp right here. So I'm currently in this sell right here for that scalp, and I re-entered the other one as well. So I entered both. I'm going to, I'll just set my parameters for this one right here. So for this right here, the lower one's going to be 31338. Oh no, stop loss is going to be up there. Stop loss is 31438. TP is going to be 31338. All right, yeah, so I'm in both of these positions right here. Let's set this one up as well, 31438. So this is a risky position as well, guys. You know, like I mentioned, all the trades today are going to be pretty risky because it's Friday. There's a lot of stuff going on as well. But I did take this scalp right here. So I took this scalp, and this scalp is technically still active. So I'll just set my parameters here for this one. This is going to be scalp number 2. And I'm probably going to be entering and exiting these trades rather quickly, guys. I don't know if I'm going to hold them to full TP. Currently in profit about 300 bucks, not bad for this trade right here. I entered 2 positions. So I entered 2 standard lots. So I'm currently 2 lots in. Scalp number 2. All right. Yeah, so I entered 2 positions. There we go. Nice drop right there. Looks like it's about to hit. What I'm looking for here is for it to break and close past the structure. Once it breaks and closes past the structure, then I think it's going to drop pretty heavily. So I'm currently in the scalp right now. Profit's about 200 bucks. Nice, 300 bucks. It's pushing down pretty nicely. And those are my profits combined. So like each trade is probably in profit about 100 bucks. So I'm in profit about 200. It's going down to 3 as it continues to push down further. So we got that set up right there. Let me see if I can get something over here set up real quick. All right, so let me get back to the chat. I'm currently in these 2 positions right here, guys. I'm going to finish off this move, but I'm using this TP. So I technically entered this position right here with like 2 lots because I entered 2 separate positions where I wanted to finish this off. But if I'm going to go for this, I might as well just push for both, right? So I'm pushing for both of those, and then I'll let you know if I manually exit because I'm going to keep watching it. I'm currently in profit pretty nice. It's decent, but I might manually exit as it as it continues to bounce around because I just don't feel safe with me trading on a Friday. I normally don't trade on Fridays, but here I am with you guys. So it's kind of hard for me not to trade when I see these entries appear because I mean they're just such good entries, right? Nice, a nice drop right there. Looks like the first scalp is about to hit full TP. I'm in profit about 400 now, about 500. Nice, it's going down to 600. All right, cool. There we go. There we go. There we go. Come on. Come on. It's like a micro pit, bro. Come on. Just hit the TP real quick. I mean, technically hit the TP for this one, the first one. So if you guys took the first one hit TP already. So we'll get some of these horns going for you guys for that first one. So that you can see that the line right here. See the line push down right here. So the first one hit TP already. That one's good. The other one's still pushing, but it's probably going to push right through it and hit the next one as well. So you guys should be fine for the most part. I'm in profit pretty decent right now. Yeah, I'm in profit about, it pulled back a little bit. So I'm in profit about 300 bucks. It was like 600. I should have just closed it out. It's all right though. I'm holding on to it and then we'll see. But that first one hit TP right here. I'm currently waiting for the next one as well. It's all good. So we have like 2 entry. We have, well, I mean, that red one's probably not going to be an entry. But this green one for sure. You see how it rejects off the pivot and the scalps. It looks pretty solid for the most part. All right, other than that, let me go ahead and take a look at the chat real quick and see what else I'm missing over here. All right, let me check this real quick. Raymar's asking, what do you feel about the sentiment for US 30? I don't think the sentiment has really moved much this entire week, Raymar. So I pulled it up right here. It's still 66% of people are short. It looks like not many people are really trading US 30 right now. On Sunday, it was like 85% of people short, but then now it's 66% of people short. So honestly, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out from there. But let me take a look at the other questions and see if there's anything else that I can be looking out for. So Life Plus said, oh yeah, okay, thanks for the tip. Kel said sellers are about to get trapped on US 30. Yeah, I know it's a trap in both ways because it's a mess right now, right? It's super messy both ways. Even this right here, look at this huge spike back up off this wick. That's crazy, right? It went straight to the TP for this one, and then it wicked all the way back up. That's crazy. How it's moving back and forth like that. I feel like I should have just closed it out when I was like 600 in profit down here. It just looked so good. It looked like it was going to continue dropping. And this is what I mean about market conditions. It just bounces back and forth. It's super messy. And this is why, in some situations, I'd probably just exit out and profit if possible. But I mean, who knows? We'll see. I'm currently still in the positions. Unfortunately, now I'm trapped in this position because I didn't close out and profit like I should have as it came down. It's all good though. I think it's going to continue pushing down. Let me check the chat real quick, see if there's anything else. Jeremy said, can you check US 30 on 4 hour? Is that a rejection off the pivot? Let me check. US 30 on the 4 hour. I don't really mess with US 30 on the 4 hour, but I'm going to check anyways. So let's see. Jeremy, I don't really see. So for this one right here, this one's kind of tricky because this zone right here is, let's see. So it initiate. Oh, it's right here. Actually, it's this whole area. It's kind of hard to see sometimes, but it's this whole area down here. So yeah, I mean, technically it did reject off that structure on the 4 hour, but I wouldn't necessarily analyze US 30 on the 4 hour. It moves way too fast. So I'm not sure if you're looking for a bigger move, Jeremy. But the movement on the 4 hour is pretty crazy. If you look at each candle, they're like thousands of pips. So I personally would never trade on the 4 hour if I'm trading indices because it's just it's too fast. But yeah, looking at here, this technically would have been a rejection off the, or actually no, it wouldn't, or technically it would. It actually is a rejection off the top pivot right here. Because you asked this question recently, Jeremy. So it looks like this was actually a rejection off this right here, this red one. Yeah, so it looks like this was the rejection right here. So technically this would have been a short position right there. But obviously you can see how big of a move this is. I mean, obviously if you're trading on this time frame, you'll probably have to use a bigger range like that. Yeah, look at US 30, guys, some bullshit. Man, I should have just exited when I had the chance. But yeah, this is what I mentioned, guys. This is why I was telling you guys these are really risky trades because it was like way down here. And then look where it's at now. Some BS, but whatever. I knew the risk going into these trades. Sorry, I locked in some profit off this one. I was like 600 profit in this one. I would have been like 1,000 up today total, but I ended up holding this stupid trade right here. What the fuck's going on with US 30, man? Oh my God, this is crazy. All right, whatever. I'm gonna let it play out. But look at that big spike, right? It went all the way from down here, all the way up here for like 800 pips. What BS is that, dude? This is why I don't like to trade on Fridays. Wait, I'm still in the trade. I don't understand what's going on. Are my parameters off? Guys, so I'm still in the trade. I don't know what's going on with MT4. Is the pricing that different? It doesn't look that different. Thought I would have got kicked out of this trade, but 31432. Subtract that by 31414. It's only off by 18 pips. But for whatever reason, I'm still in the trade. That's fine. Because it's probably going to drop from this point. It's going to do exactly what it did right here. It's going to push up and then it's going to push down. Yeah, but thankfully, the first one over here, I exited that with profit. So I made about like 400 something bucks. And then off this one over here, I'm still in it. The pricing difference is only like 16 pips, but I don't know why MT4 is like way different, but it's fine. I'm going to hang on to this trade and I'm going to try to get out of it. And I'm just going to turn these off over here because they're kind of relevant at this point because I'm technically not following it anymore. So yeah, not sure if you guys are in these scalps right here, but you know, obviously you can see that price is moving pretty crazy both ways. That's so weird. I don't understand. My stop loss is 31438. It's at that same exact price point right there. Yeah, I'm assuming pricing is like super off for MT4 or here, I'll show you guys mine right here on my MT4. So it didn't even get close to my stop loss. You guys can see right here, my stop loss is above here and my TP is like down here. It was so close to my TP. The first TP actually hit right here, but then for this other position, it's still right here. So I'm still within the range, and it's weird because my stop loss here is 31438, and that's what it was right there. But I don't know what's going on with the pricing here for MT4. Honestly, I don't know, and I don't care. I'm still in the position, so I'm just gonna hang on for dear life until this ends up playing out. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, we'll wait and see how this plays out. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and analyze these other pairs real quick. And I'm probably going to sit out the rest of the day. You know, like I mentioned, today's not a good day to trade. I shouldn't even trade it today, but I made some profit. And then I'm still currently in these current positions right now. So we'll see how this ends up playing out. Otherwise, the market's just too crazy this morning, guys. I would just sit it out if you guys can. But technically, I showed you guys my MT4. I'm still in there. And then we'll see how this plays out. So let me see this. The daily entry would have been this candle right here, which is obviously we wouldn't have taken this candle, or we wouldn't have taken this trade in general because it is Friday. But if you guys did take the daily entry right here, it's still technically active. It was a sell signal right here. And it's just in some drawdown currently. So depending on which strategy you guys are applying, if you guys are taking the scalp strategies, like I mentioned, the market's too messy right now. It's not something that I would really want to play with. Let me just delete this off the chart. Yeah, so the market right here, like I was mentioning, going back at US 30, I generally like to trade when it's smooth like this. When it's smooth, the pivots are spread out and they're angled. And same with like this right here, where price is coming down and it's smooth and angled. When it's choppy like how it is right here, I don't want to mess with it because price just goes back and forth over and over again, right? So that's why I'm holding off on these. But like I mentioned earlier, I'm still in the trade for I don't know how different MT4 is, but pricing is the same on both. It's just off by like 16 pips. All right, anyways, let me go take a look real quick to see what's going on over here. Let's check out CNBC real quick. So yeah, it looks like the indices are trying to swing their way back up. It was all red this morning. I mean, it's still red. The Dow Jones is still down. The S&P is the only one that's up. Nasdaq is down. Russell 2K is down, and the VIX is down as well. So all indices in general are still down overall, but it looks like they just had a rush of momentum upwards. Spotify will let employees work from anywhere after the pandemic. Interesting. All right. Let me go back and see what you guys are talking about in the chat real quick. Let's see, the other question here is, yeah, Jeremy, I looked at the US 30 on the 4-hour, and yeah, technically it did have a rejection off the pivot right there. But like I mentioned, it's not something that I would trade off because these candles move way too big. Like look at this candle here. It moves like 1,000 pips. Each candle is like 1,500 pips. And unless you're taking a big risk, then it's going to cost a lot to trade these on the 4-hour. But there is a rejection right there off that. Anyways, let me go look what's next. Hey, Sam, morning. Sam said, Shawn, if you have time, can you please look at Bitcoin? So let me take a look at Bitcoin for you real quick. Bitcoin right over here. All right, so we're gonna take a look at Bitcoin right now. So I'm gonna delete everything off the chart. I'm gonna do the same thing I did for all the other pairs. I'm just gonna analyze it from scratch so you guys can see, you know, what we're looking at here. Obviously, Bitcoin is it's gonna be pretty bullish for a long time. So just depending on how you're trading it, Sam, you know, obviously it would vary. But I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator right here. And I'll just draw my zones. And I think Bitcoin's at an all-time high, so there's not really going to be any upper zones on the higher time frames. We'll probably have to go on the shorter ones to grab those, since price hasn't been up there for that long. So there goes those lower zones. I'm pretty sure there's nothing on the 8-hour. Yeah, we'll go on the 1 hour. There you go. So this is actually one big zone right here. And then there's 2 zones right here. Yeah, so looking at Bitcoin here, Sam, let me zoom out from this point. Yeah, looking at Bitcoin from here, we'll turn on the momentum indicator. Looks like yeah, Rich said US 30 is mad right now. I think all the indices are pretty mad right now, bro. I'll take a look at the other indices when you come back, but right now I'm just gonna finish out Bitcoin. So Sam, you're looking at Bitcoin on the 5-minute. All right, so if you want me to look at it from the 5-minute, I'll have to draw different zones here. So I'm assuming you're scalping Bitcoin. Here, I'll do this. I'll just delete everything off again. And then I'll just analyze it from the 5-minute, since this is what, I mean, if this is what you're trading on. I'm assuming. Let me try to fix this real quick. I've made such tight time frames. Let's see if there's anything else here. Okay, I'm going to connect these two right here. Man, that rain is annoying. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's like a thumping sound outside because the rain keeps hitting my my balcony. All right, yeah. So looking at Bitcoin right here on the 5-minute, and just keep in mind this is not something that I would trade on the 5-minute. I mean, there's a bunch of scalp entries here if that's what you were looking for, Sam. So like, for example, here, if you want to scalp this, the main reason I don't like the 5-minute is because it's just too noisy. There's just too much stuff going on the 5-minute. So just looking at this here, I mean, it's the same strategy that we've been applying: rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. If you were to take this trade here for a short, I mean, obviously, it would have, you know, hit TP right there. So that's like one entry there. There's also another entry right next to it right here, this red one. Rejection off the pivot and the structure. Again, right there, short position for another full TP right there. So, I mean, it does work pretty solid. But, you know, we'll take a look at a current price right now, see if there's any entries, because that looks like you're looking at them, Sam. So right here, there's actually no entry that's available because it would have to reject off the structure and the pivot. But looking back here, there's actually no, that would have been an entry. So there hasn't been any entries for a while for Bitcoin here. Unless you were, let's see, the most recent entry would have been right here, I guess, right? So if you had this right here, let me just back up from this point. Yeah. So the most recent entry would have been right here, but it's still kind of choppy where I wouldn't have taken it, because you can see here that price it's smooth right here. I'd take these sells, but then as it starts to cross over right here, it becomes a mess. So it's smooth right here. I would take these sells, and then right here, I would just take a break because it's just so choppy going back and forth. And I probably wouldn't even taken this. I wouldn't have taken this one right here. This is technically an entry right here. But like I was mentioning, I don't scalp on the 5 minute. The 5 minutes too messy. I don't understand how things move on here so quickly or so, back and forth. So I usually just trade on the 10 minute. So that would have hit stop loss if you took that trade. And that's obviously something that I would have missed. Here, let's see. Sam said, yes, I'm stuck in a buy higher than, all right, US 30 is coming back down, it looks like. Yeah, US 30 is crazy right now, guys. So I'm technically still in my positions over here. Thank God I'm not like stopped out yet. I'm still in it. So I'm trying to get out of this and profit when I can. As it swings back down, I'm trying to get out ASAP because this is just a mess right now. It's finally coming down. I just find it funny because it's like, dude, I told myself I was going to trade today. And this is why I don't like going live on Fridays, because I usually don't trade on Fridays. And then I had like so much profit, and I just let it go because because I thought it was going to keep dropping. And this, honestly, guys, I don't understand this right here. This is such a huge candle, and it's way after the market opened. So the market opened right here at 6:30. This is understandable. A huge wick right here. That makes sense on market open, but like we're like an hour in the market already, and it shoots up nearly 1,000 pips for no reason, right? Like literally no reason. Usually it smoothens out at this point an hour later, but it hasn't. It's been like this the entire week though. If you look at this right here, it was messy, and then you look at yesterday morning, look how messy this was right here as well. Like from 6:30 up until 8:10. Okay, so maybe I got to give it a little more time. It's only 7:51, so maybe another 10 to 20 minutes, and it'll smoothen out. But this whole week's been crazy. Like right here, crazy. Right here, crazy. The 10th, right here. Actually, every day's been crazy. So here on the 10th, the market opened right here, crazy drop. Crazy drops again right here yesterday. And then on the 9th was pretty crazy too. Look at these spikes right here, all these wicks. So, I mean, US 30 this week has just been like all over the place. If you look prior, like if we go back pretty far, let me see if I could go back a little farther. And then let's just go back to a random date, like January 20, let me see, January 24, which is like normal, I don't know, a couple weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. So if you look here on the 4th, 24th, where is it at? See, market was kind of moving, but it's like smooth back and forth. It's not like where there's so many wicks. Right here, they're just big candles, but they're not crazy wicks. Like you can catch the drop, you can catch the push up, and it's fine. Going back to where price currently is now, this shit's like spike up, huge wick, like 1,000 pips, another wick on the other direction. And it's been doing that all week. So I'm not sure what's really affecting the market, causing it to wick around like this. If it's a candle, like a body candle, that's fine. But when it's wicking, that, obviously that signals that there's uncertainty in the market and that price is just bouncing back and forth. But anyways, let me go back to my analysis for Bitcoin real quick. Sorry, Sam, I went off track for a second there. But yeah, Sam mentioned that Faris said, I took 2 more sell positions to cover that weird spike. Probably gonna regret it. Yeah, I would stay out of the market right now, Faris, because it's just like I mentioned, it's just crazy right now. I mean, you're probably gonna make some profit off this. I think it's gonna come back down at this point, Faris, because see this wick rejection off the structure? It looks like it's been testing. So this is what it looks like, guys. It looks like US 30 is ranging between this zone right here, this upper zone, and this lower zone right here. See how it fails to break through it on market open right here? It shot up, then it came right back down. Again, right here, it came back down, rejected off this structure, shot back up, and then shot back down, and then shot back up. And then now it's rejecting off the structure again, and it's probably going to shoot, right back down. I think when it shoots right back down here, I'm going to exit and profit when I can, because this here, let me see what else we got over here real quick. Yeah, so like for this right here, I mean, this is probably going to drop from this point. And then, yeah, there it goes. It's starting to drop at that point. And then you can probably exit and profit, Ferris. But let me go back to Bitcoin real quick. So Sam, you said you're in a buy, right? So if you're in a buy, I think you're fine, because long term, I think you should be all right. Sam said, yeah, stuck in a buy, a bit higher at 48,300. Let me just mark that up on the chart real quick, Sam. 48,300. Wow, you got up so like pretty high. 48,300. Oh wow, you're like super high, Sam. Like way up here. 48,300. Yeah, Sam. So you're like way up here. So you're in some heavy drawdown. But I think you should be fine, Sam. If you can hold on and not not get kicked out of the trade, I think you should be fine because I think it's gonna come back eventually. It's just gonna keep like for me, for example, I don't scalp Bitcoin, I just buy and hold. So the way that I trade it is, I mean, obviously here's the 5-minute analysis. It looks like it's coming back up. So if we get a rejection off this pivot and structure, then it'll probably shoot up from there. But like I was mentioning, it's a bit risky. Generally, the way that I trade Bitcoin is I trade on the higher time frame. Like I trade on the 4-hour. And like what I did earlier, when I drew the zones, what I usually do is, so there's the zone's too far off there. What I usually do right here for this is I usually wait for it to dip, or it even dipped right here. Actually, I probably would have bought some more right here, or no, I'd wait for it to drop a little further. So what I do generally for Bitcoin is I wait for it to dip. So like, for example, here it comes up and then when it dips, I buy some more Bitcoin right here. So I buy Bitcoin and then I just hold on to it, right? And then price comes back up, comes back down. As it comes back down again right here, I'll buy some more Bitcoin. And then, for example, if it drops even further, so it drops even further down here, then I'll buy some more Bitcoin. So this is my strategy for Bitcoin. I don't really trade it actively. I'll like wait for it to drop. I'll buy some Bitcoin there. And then as it drops again right here, I do the same thing. I just buy more Bitcoin and then it averages out, right? So I buy some Bitcoin here, I buy some Bitcoin here. And then now my actual Bitcoin average is going to be like right here in the middle. So as it comes back down again and I buy some more here, my average will just increase a little bit. Or if it drops higher, if it drops further down here and I buy, it'll just drop my average lower and lower. So then I technically bought my Bitcoin at this price down here. So that's how I trade it. Sam, I mean, obviously I don't trade on the shorter time frame, but I do think overall it's going to come back up. I don't think it's going to keep dropping. Obviously a lot of the hype from when Elon Musk backed Bitcoin, and then same with like MasterCard, I believe, it pushed it up, right? So people are selling off their Bitcoin and they're trying to make some money off it, and then they're just going to rebuy as soon as it comes down to the next structure. So that's pretty much my analysis for Bitcoin right there. Let me see if there's anything else here. Yeah, Sam said, okay, thank you. I appreciate the feedback. I'm trying to buy and hold, but I always get stopped. Yeah, that's why I never really, I don't have a stop loss for my Bitcoin. I just hold on to it because I buy actual Bitcoin and I just hang on to it. I don't buy the BTC USD. I mean, you can buy it, but obviously it's going to move differently because it's by pips. It's not by the actual price of the Bitcoin. So let me see what else we got over here real quick before I continue on. Samurai said, yo, crypto. Yeah, I'm not much of a crypto trader at all. Mark said, UK pushing so hard right now. I'll take a look at that in a little bit as well. Samurai said, nice price. Yeah, we looked at that. Mary said, hi, Shawn. Can you take a look? Can you check out gold, please? Thanks. So let me check out gold real quick. And then I'll keep going down the list of questions over here. So we got gold over here. I'm going to go ahead and erase everything up the chart. And then here is the, actually, let me see what we have over here. Ravman said, my partner tried to join your premium group, but we keep getting scammers trying to be you. We think we may got through to, but we're not sure and we don't know what to do. So Ravman, if you could try to private message me. If you're going to, so guys, if you guys are going to sign up to K2, the only place you can sign up is this website, k2trades.com. Obviously there's going to be scammers throughout Telegram. That's just how Telegram is, and how the internet is. There's going to be people that are trying to fake me. There's actually someone over here. Let me see if I could find this right here. So yeah, so Kristen, she messaged me yesterday. She said that she got this message from someone that was trying to be me. So if you guys get a message by someone that basically just copies my stuff right here, it's not me, right? Obviously, if it's me, it's going to say owner next to it. It doesn't say owner next to his name. And then he just sent her some fucking weird shit. He was like, hey, message me now if you want to start your work today. And then like all these like weird messages. So if you guys get weird messages from a scammer that's trying to be me, it's obviously not me. You have to check and make sure that it says owner next to my name. I banned them yesterday. So I don't think they're in the group anymore. But let me check over here real quick. So if I search this up, yeah, so I banned them yesterday. Basically, guys, if you guys are getting a message from me, make sure that it says owner next to my name. See right here, it says Shawn K2 owner. It has to say owner next to it. If it doesn't say owner, then it's not me. Like, don't fall for any of those scams. Obviously, this is a typical thing that happens in not just on Telegram, but online. There's people that are trying to impersonate me and like other people. So if you guys want to sign up to K2, make sure you go on the website, k2trades.com. Don't go to like some random website. Obviously, if it's a random website, it's not K2. It has to be the K2 website. And then if you're messaging me on Telegram, make sure that it says owner next to my name, because that's how you know it's me. Because if it doesn't say owner next to me, it's just going to be someone who copied my name and in my picture. So just keep that in mind, guys. I don't want you guys to get scammed over here as well. Oh, Ravman, yes, that's my partner. Yeah, Ravman. So I banned that person from the group. I'm not sure, if they're still in communication with you. You should just block them and make sure that they don't message you. Because I did see that, and I honestly, I don't know how they got into the group, but they're just going to keep lingering through the group. It's obviously a scammer, especially because they're, I was talking to CSIC about this, and CSIC was saying that, CSIC mentioned that, like, he couldn't use any like better pictures for his little scam thing. But yeah, Radman, sorry about that. Just make sure that you go through me directly. Make sure it says owner next to my name, or if you sign up on the website, make sure you're on the actual K2 website, not some other website. Okay. All right. So back to the questions over here. Let me go and analyze this stuff real quick before we continue. Okay. So I'm analyzing gold right now for Mary. Let me just take a look at that. US 30 is still moving around. I'm not going to bother looking at US 30 because it's just going to keep bouncing around. Anyways, I'm back at gold right here. I'm going to turn on the K2SR indicator. And then first thing we're going to do here is we're going to draw some zones on the chart for you guys. Yeah, Ravin, and I think your partner mentioned something about you guys being in epic trading or something like that, right? So, here at K2, like, we actually trade. I know I've heard of epic trading. They're like a network marketing company. They're kind of like IML, which, if you guys want to do network marketing, that's fine. But, over here, we don't do any of that. We actually trade, and I trade every day. And this is how I make my profits from trading, not from network marketing. So, yeah, I know you guys had some questions about that. I haven't responded to your partner yet, to Kristen. So, like, I will respond to Kristen a little later, Ravman. But just like, at this time I'm doing this live session, so I'm not going to be able to respond right away. But I will get to you guys right after this is done. So looking at gold here, I'm going to analyze this. We have our zones drawn up here. You can see that price has been within this zone since January 8th. So it entered the zone in January 8th, but it's been ranging within this area all throughout the year. So like last year, November, it was in this price area. Back in September, it was in this price area. And then back in July, it was in this price area as well. So just looking at gold right now, it's currently within this range. I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator right here to identify the direction of price. So for right here, we have a bearish bias, right? The reason for that is because the most recent signal was a sell signal right here. And you can see obviously right here, price kind of broke structure, retested, then it came back down. Currently where price is right now, looks like it can be swinging back up. So right here is a rejection. I think if we get a buy signal somewhere around here, say if we get a buy signal, I'll show you an example here. So we have the rejection down here. We have the buy signal right here. And then, once that happens right there, it pushes up to this next structure, right? And it always happens. It pushes up to the next structure. Once it breaks and closes past that structure, it ends up pushing up to the next structure right here. So this is where it ended up swinging in the opposite direction. But this is kind of what I see happening right here. I see the rejection right here, same pattern. We're just waiting for that buy signal like this right here, and then it'll probably push up higher from that point. That's one scenario. Scenario number one is that this happens. Scenario number two is that price rejects off this point. There's like two different scenarios that can play out here. Either it goes up, or scenario number two is it rejects off this point. It fails to break and close past that structure, and then it just ends up swinging back down from here. You know, one way to confirm the strength of gold is to look at the dollar index. So the dollar index right here, you can see that the dollar index is super weak, right? So the dollar index is going down. As it's going down like this, if this continues to go down right here, gold does the opposite. So if this continues to go down from this point, then gold is likely to increase. So if that's the case, then we can anticipate this to shoot up in this direction, right? Because if you guys are familiar with how the market works, when price is going down, that means that the second currency is stronger than the first. But if price is going up, that means that the first currency is stronger than the second. So for example, right here, the US dollar, in order to determine how strong the US dollar is, we look at the DXY, which is the US dollar currency index. And if it continues to keep pushing down this way, this is going to indicate that the dollar is weak. So if the dollar is weak, we can anticipate gold to push up higher. But I personally wouldn't trade gold until it gives me some extra confirmation, right? Like I know this might be a long wait right here, but if you do wait long enough and you wait for it to close above here, you can catch a gold mine as it shoots up from that point, right? That's kind of like what happened the past couple of weeks, right? So for example, right here, it's the same thing. We had the rejection from this point. So I'll show you the same exact thing that we were looking at right here. We had the rejection from this point, and then we had a buy signal right here. And then once price broke and closed past that structure, you know, we had a buy signal right there. You could have taken this for an entry up there. And then obviously it would have hit full TP eventually. So that's basically what I'm looking for over here as price, you know, continues to move on from that point. Sorry guys, I got some messages right here on the DM. So if you guys are messaging me on Telegram, obviously I have like a bunch of messages down here. I haven't gotten to them yet, but I will be getting to them eventually. But yeah, going back to gold right here, like I mentioned, you know, the DXY here, if it continues to drop, then gold's probably going to continue pushing up. So if that's the case, if we get a buy signal, then it's probably going to continue pushing up higher and higher. So that's what I'd be looking for if you're looking for these entries for gold. So that's pretty much it for that right there. That's my analysis for gold. And then if you want to look at it for a scalping perspective, let me pull up gold real quick over here, Mary. I'll just check it out to see if there's any entries. Market's been pretty choppy lately, so I probably wouldn't be trading it even for some scalps. Yeah, so I wouldn't mess with any scalps right now, even on the 30-minute right here. See this big candle? This is, it's like some unusual movement, but see, this is what I would wait for here. This works the same way as we've looked at for US 30. You know, usually we don't want to enter it when the market opens for US because for obvious reasons, market manipulation. But like right here, so if this ends up coming back down, this is what I would be looking for. I would be looking for price to come back down and provide for an actual scalp entry. So let me just draw these up right here. I mean, these zones up here are irrelevant, but I'm going to draw them anyways. All right, so yeah, for gold right here, you know, basically what we'd be looking for is for price to come down, test this structure, and then come back up. So we'd look for this because obviously, like I mentioned here, the dollar index, if it continues to drop, then gold is going to continue pushing up, right? So I'd be looking for here is for price to come down, reject off the pivot and the structure right here, And then when that happens, you can catch that ride back up. So that's the scalp entry that I'd be looking for here. However, like I mentioned, today's Friday, so I probably wouldn't want to do that. This would be the 30-minute. Let me go on the 10-minute real quick and see if there's anything to look at over here. So let me just go back to what was it, gold? Yeah, I mean, obviously they're on a stop loss hunt right here. Oh, that's kind of what Samurai just mentioned right now. To stop hunt probably the big candle before it dumps. Yeah, that's why I would just hold off on it, guys. I wouldn't mess with it because there's just I mean, honestly, if you guys have been looking at the markets, there's just a lot of uncertainty. There's not really much that we can really grasp with how price is moving, because price will go from like not moving at all to spiking like super heavily. So I would like, and gold is one of the most manipulated assets. Like I'm sure you guys have heard me say that before, and you guys can see here that it's clearly obvious that it's being manipulated one way or another as the US dollar weakens. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I just analyze this, draw my zones right here, draw some more zones up here. And yeah, from that right there, we can go ahead and turn that off. And yeah, just looking at gold right here, I mean, obviously there was some nice sells right here if you took these scalps in the other direction, but you can see that once we got closer to market open here, 6:30, it started to get messy, right? So like, this is what I mean over here. When price is moving smooth like this right here, you have the nice rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure, like full TP with no problem, right? With like literally no drawdown. And then there's a couple more entries here, rejection off the pivot and the structure. Obviously you take this right here as well, another full TP over here. And these are some smooth movements here. There's a bunch of entries here that you could have taken. Rejection off the structure and the pivot right there. Short position, full TP, right? So this is like, these are easy moves right here from like last night or yesterday morning from 8 until like today. And then this morning right here, you see where it starts to get super choppy, right? So for example here, well, there was no entries anyway, so you'd be fine. The last entry right here that was available was right here, and you would have hit full TP off that. So your last entry would be here at 340. And then if you took that trade right there, you would have hit full TP. So you'd be good to go with that. But now that price is above here, it's super choppy, right? We would have to wait for this to come down, test the structure and the pivot, and then catch it as it swings back up. But who knows like how far it's going to go, or if it's even going to go for that far, that long. So I'd probably just hold off on gold right now, guys, until it provides for an entry. There's just no entry available at this time. And yeah, if the DXY ends up continuing to drop, then you can expect gold to continue to push up. So just keep that in mind, Mary, if you're looking at gold, but I would just stay away from it right now. All right, let me go and see what else is over here as well. All right, next question is from Lisa. Lisa said, S&P looks like it's smoothing out a bit. Potential scalp off the 10-minute. So let me go over there real quick to S&P. I think you mentioned on the 10-minute, right, Lisa? So let me pull up S&P real quick over here. So yeah, looking at the S&P over here, I'm going to draw my zones real quick. And then we'll see if there's any... Yeah, so technically that big candle right there would have been a buy entry, Lisa, but I don't know if it's not something that I would take because it's just too it's too messy of a trade to hold on to. I mean, in my perspective. So let me just, because like I mentioned, I like to trade stuff when it's moving smoothly, right? So like looking at S&P right here, I'll just turn this off after I draw my zones. Looks like there was yeah, this green candle right here would have been an entry, and you'd be in profit right now currently. But it's just, I mean, overall, it's just a messy thing to look at. So like, for example, here we had the rejection off the pivot and the structure. So if you took a long position here, it'd be in profit right now. Yeah, it would have made its way halfway to full TP right there. And then now it's starting to dump back down, right? So there's one entry right there that was available. Like I mentioned right here, around market open from like, I guess like 5:30 up until 6:30, I wouldn't take any trades, or 5:30 to 7:30. So like this whole time period right here is where you see a ton of market manipulation going on. Let me just go and mark this up from here. So 5:30 up until 7:30 right here. This is where there's a lot of like choppiness going on in the market. And then it starts to smoothen out a little bit, but not necessarily. It's still kind of choppy. But if you were taking trades like, prior to this, like over here, I mean, honestly, S&P's just been like US 30 this whole week. It's smooth right here, then it's super choppy, then it's smooth for like temporarily for a little bit, and then it's choppy. So it's not something that I necessarily would want to trade. Like if we zoom out from here, you can see that, I mean, this gives you a better picture. Right here, it's kind of dropping pretty smooth. You can take all these cells right here. Like when you see the pivots gap out and they spread out like that, it's like prime for entries right here, right? So like, for example, if you were to catch this trade right here, where price rejected off the pivot in the structure, this would be an easy TP with like no drawdown, right? Right there, full TP. Again, right here for this falling candle over here, this red one, if you were to take this one right here, same, it's the same thing again. You enter that trade right there, and then you go for 500 pips, 50, I mean, it's another full TP. So comparing the charts from like this perspective over here up until, so this I would take trades, this I would hold off, it's too choppy. I would take trades here. I would take trades here to the upside. Like there's a bunch of entries right here. These are all a bunch of buys right here. Another rejection off this point. And this isn't too long ago because we're on the 10-minute chart. So this was on the 10th. This was only 2 days ago. Full TP right there. And there's a bunch of TPs you could have taken right here. Smooth move up, smooth move down, smooth move up, and then choppiness. Super choppy right here, super choppy all throughout. And then currently where price is right now is choppy as well, right? So this is why I wouldn't take this trade. But I mean, if you did want to take this, Lisa, it's obviously in profit. And then you could have, locked in some profit off this. But it's just too messy for me to want to take these trades. I mean, first of all, it's Friday. So that's the main thing. Number one, it's Friday. You don't want to get trapped in trades over the weekend. And number two is there's these huge wicks, right? If there's smaller wicks, it's fine. Like you see these little small wick rejections, these are cool because you can just take those trades and you'll be good to go. But when it becomes a huge wick like this, where it pushes up like 500 pips, that's where it becomes risky. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's pretty much my analysis for S&P right now as well. Radomir said we had daily entry for US 30. Yeah, we did, Radomir, but like I mentioned earlier, I said that I wasn't going to take it because of it being Friday. We don't really take the daily entries on Friday because it's just risky. Because like for the most part, we just don't want to be holding trades into the weekend. That's probably going to be the the most important thing for the most part, because you don't want to end up with price way up here and then you're like an hour away from market close and then you get stuck holding it, right? Because I mean that happens sometimes. And then you come back to the market on Sunday and then there's a huge market gap, which generally happens all like over the weekend for something like US 30. All right, let me scroll down real quick. Alex is asking about US 30. So yeah, we'll look at US 30 from a higher time frame because I don't think I analyzed it from the higher time frame yet. So looking at US 30 right here, I'm going to go on the 1 hour. I'm just going to draw my zones. So here's a naked chart. I'm going to go here, turn on my K2SR zones. And I'm going to go ahead and draw these zones for you guys right here so you guys can see, where the rejection points are and where the entry points are right here. All right. So these lower zones right here are kind of relevant, but I'm already drawing them, so I might as well just finish it up for you guys so we can have a nice view of everything. All right, cool. So just looking at US 30 right here, I'm going to turn off the K2SRs. And you can see that price has been pretty bullish for a long time now. I mean, obviously, it's going to have to dump at some point because it's, it's at all-time high. So this is the all-time high right here. It looks like it rejected off it twice already. Rejected off this point, rejected off this point. And now it's just stuck within a range, right? It's just ranging sideways. Looking at the IG sentiment over here, let me check the IG sentiment to see. I don't think it's changed at all. It's still 66% of people are short. So yeah, there's still 66% of people short right now. I feel like they're just going to range price until they can choose, they can find a direction. That's why we've just been scalping US 30 for the most part, because a lot of these moves here, you can see that it moves in impulses, right? Like US 30 will go from like a downtrend to consolidation to downtrend, uptrend, consolidation, uptrend, consolidation. Now it's like, it's been in this consolidation since February 7th. So you can see it entered into this range on February 7th, and then now it's just been bouncing back and forth. It hasn't been able to close above this area, and it hasn't been able to close below this area either, right? So until price closes above or below these two areas, then it's probably just going to keep ranging within this zone right here. So what we'd be looking for is for price to close above here. Sorry, let me fix that. For price to close above here. If price closes above here, then we can anticipate a farther push upwards, right? That's what we'd be looking for here. Vice versa, we'd be looking for price to close below here for a sell. Because if price closes below here, then it's probably going to push even lower, right? So obviously you can see here that it's just been going sideways for like the past, I don't know how many days. Let me see. From the 7th right here. Okay, so from here till now, it's been going sideways for 4 days now. So until it breaks out in either direction, then it's gonna, it's probably gonna continue in that direction. But I think for now, it's just gonna keep going sideways until this, confirms one way or the other. So that's pretty much it for US 30 right there on the higher time frame. Obviously we're still in the scalps over here, or this is the daily entry. But yeah, for the scalps over here, looks like it's still a mess. Let me go back to US 30. Yeah, obviously right here it's been a mess. I'm hoping it drops from this point because I still have my my sells in place. But yeah, even looking at it here on the 10-minute, it looks like it's stuck within this range as well. So it broke into this range at about 350 this morning, and then now it's just going sideways between this area. So if you look at this price over here, price range from this area up until here, you can see that price wasn't able to close past the structure, right? So I think this would be the main key right here. I think it's so it looks like they tried to lure in some buyers over here, but it failed to break the structure. So I think it's going to come right back down to test this structure right here. And when that happens, I'm going to close out on my positions in profit, because the main key here is whether price closes above here or if price closes below here. Until that happens, there's probably not going to be very much movement. It's probably just going to keep going sideways back and forth. Price can break past it, but it needs to close above it. The body needs to close above, and that's going to give the confirmation whether it's going to continue in that direction. Because you can see here, whenever price breaks and closes past structure, it usually continues in that direction for like X amount of time. And I'm hoping that it just drops from this point and just comes crashing down, because I still have my sells set in place from earlier. So that's pretty much it for that right there. Let me see if there's anything else before we continue. And just a reminder, guys, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help. It'll give me incentive to continue pushing for these daily live streams, because obviously, I do have the Zoom here going with the premium members. So if you guys want me to continue going on this YouTube stream, then just like the stream, help us continue to grow this channel, and then I'll continue to keep going live for you guys every morning to answer your questions and give you guys my trade analysis for specific trades that I'm taking. Anyways, let me zone down from here real quick and see if there's anything else that I'm missing. Samurai said, I'm watching a zone on Euro USD around 1.21130 to 1.2115 for breakouts, rejection on 30-minute and 1 hour. Just wondering if it lines up with your analysis. So yeah, Samurai, let me pull up Euro USD real quick. Let's go over here. There we go. Euro USD. I'm going to delete this. And then here we have our naked chart. We zoom out. Turn on the K2SR indicator. So I'll draw these zones, and it looks like you're trading on the 30-minute, 1 hour. So I'll draw my zones on the 4 hour, and I'll drop down to the 1 hour and then the 30-minute to look at your analysis as well, because these zones generally line up with it most of the time. So it doesn't really, I mean, there's no need for us to draw a million zones when we just draw like a couple big ones. All right. All right, cool. So it looks like it's within a zone right here. Now I'm going to drop down to the 1 hour. Let's see. So it looks like yours is at 1.211. You know, here, this is what I'll do. Since you're on the 1 hour, I'll draw my zones on the 1 hour first. This is probably going to be easier. Yeah. So they're not as messy. They're not too wide. Because when they're on the 4 hour, they're kind of too wide for us to really use to our advantage. So yeah, looking at that there. Looking at that there. All right, so these overlap. It's good right there. There. All right, so looks like we're good right here. So I'm going to mark up your zones that you just mentioned, Samurai. So you said that your upper zone is going to be at, I'm just going to put it up here. You said it was 1.21130. So that's one of your zones right there. And then you have another zone. So it does line up with my structure right here as well. You have one right there. And then your second one is going to be 1.21150. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So it looks like your zone is pretty, it's pretty spot on with mine. I mean, yours is a little smaller, it's a little tighter, but it's pretty much the same. It's within this entire zone right here. So looking at that right there, I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator, and then we'll see what my analysis looks like on this as well. So your zone is right here. Yeah, your zone lines up perfectly with mine. So we have the rejection from here. We have the buy signal and a break in structure right there. So with this analysis on the 1 hour, we'd anticipate this to push up a little farther to this zone right here. And then obviously, you know, if it pushes up higher and breaks above this zone right here. So if it pushes up higher to this zone and closes, then we would anticipate to push up even farther from that point. So yeah, your analysis lines up pretty nicely with mine, Samurai. You have the same zone as mine right here on the 1 hour. And then it did break and close past the structure. So with that said, you know, price is basically doing a break and retest. I think that's what's happening right here. So we have the confirmation of the rejection, buy signal, break and close past structure. Looks like price broke above it. Now it's retesting. And then I think it's going to shoot right back up to there. Reason for that is because the dollar index is weak, right? The dollar index is weak right here. So if we tie the euro index with the dollar index, so obviously you can see right here, the euro is strong while the dollar is weak, right? So if the euro is strong here, the dollar is weak, that's going to indicate that the euro USD is going to continue pushing up higher because, you know, if the euro is stronger than the US dollar, price has to go up. If the US dollar is stronger than the euro, price goes down. But obviously right here for the, you know, obvious analysis right here of the currency indexes, obviously euro USD is probably going to continue up further. So we'll go on the 30-minute as well to see, because you mentioned that as well. And it lines up perfectly here too. So your same zones are within that zoned area right here, Samurai. And it plays out exactly how we just analyzed it. So I think you're good if you're in that for a buy. You know, obviously rejection off the structure and then probably a skyrocket from here. So we'll see how that happens. But yeah, definitely your analysis lines up with mine. Let me see if there's anything else here again, real quick. Kimmy said maybe the banks are trying to make US 30 bullish because most folks are short. Looks like good for a scalp. Yeah, so that's basically what's happening right there for the most part, Kimmy. Like, you know, it's just market manipulation because, I mean, see, for one, the index, I mean, the IG sentiment hasn't really changed all week. It's been 66% since Monday. So I think they're going to push price one way or the other, or they're going to push price back and forth to basically lure in more people, right? So once more people enter the market, they can probably manipulate it more. So for example, 66% of people are short here. What could happen here is if people just keep entering short positions, then it'll probably spike up. Vice versa, people start to go to a long position. So say if the 66% of people start to lessen, right? Say it goes down to like 60%, down to 50%. When that happens, they can probably spike in the opposite direction down. So I usually don't like to trade when it's like one-sided, or I mean when it's down the middle, because it's just too risky. That's why I'd rather just scalp. Obviously, if it was one-sided, we could trade that way long term. And it was funny because on Sunday, so let's see, Sunday was, check the calendar. Sunday was the 7th. So on the 7th over here, if you guys sat in on my live session on Sunday, we did see that on the 7th over here, a lot of people are short. It was like 77, it was like 75% of people are short, or like 85% of people. So you can see here from that time, yeah, on the 7th right here, everyone thought that this was the all-time high, right? So this was actually the all-time high right here. And people were shorting. So people shorted the market for a little bit right there. But then all of a sudden, it ended up going skyrocket from there, from right here all the way up here, right? And there was like a ton of people that were short, and a bunch of people are still short this entire week. Like this whole week, there's been 66% of people short, and the market just keeps going up and up and up, right? So that's why I generally don't like to trade in the direction of the majority. If there's a lot of people short, then I like to go long. But obviously right here, I just took a small scalp. So I'm just trying to close out of this position when I can. And then, pretty much sit it out until things start to smoothen out. But yeah, I do agree with you with what you mentioned, Kimmy, with regard to, market being manipulated like one way or the other. All right, let me see if I could get this going real quick. All right, so I think that's good for that right there. Let me go ahead and see if there's anything else in the chat before we continue on. Sisu said it will drop right just enough, right where I need it to. Yeah, I agree. All right, let me scroll down a little bit. Yeah, Rich mentioned US 30 double rejection. So I see a bunch of rejections right here, actually, Rich. So like, well, so here's the screwed up part. So there's the rejections on both ends, right? So we have rejections up here. Like there's a bunch of rejections right there, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then down here, there's also 4 rejections. So like for this right here, we need price to come below. We need this to drop below here before we can take the strategy. I mean, before we can take this entry. Sorry, I just read the message. There's people here messaging about this. All right, sorry. Now we have some messages in the premium. Steven's asking if this is a newer strategy. He's talking about the one that I mentioned yesterday. So I'm working on a new strategy. It's like a breakout strategy, guys, from the beginning of market. That's kind of what we took earlier over here, but it was a little different. Yeah, I gave like a little sneak peek yesterday of this strategy right here. So obviously you can see I have the sessions marked up, right? So I have Asia session over here, full TP, London session, full TP, US session, full TP, Asia session the following day, full TP, and it's just full TPs, right? So what I do basically is I'm looking for breakouts when the market opens. And I mean, there's a way that I do it, but I need to get it coded into an indicator so you guys can see what I'm looking at, because I mean, you actually have to know what you're doing to be able to identify it. So I haven't released it yet. It's probably not going to be released for a while because I have to translate my logic into an indicator so that you guys can see exactly, when and where the entries appear from. So yeah, guys, let me go ahead and take a look at the other stuff right here before we continue. But I think that's about it for those questions. Let's see. Eric said, I'm not a huge fan of trading gold with snipe strategy, too many zones. I agree, Eric, I'm the same way. Gold is like it's way too manipulated for me. So I generally don't like to trade it very much, or I don't even trade it at all, actually. Samurai said, thanks, KT. Appreciate you taking your time. I value your input. Yeah, definitely, Samurai. No problem. And I'm glad that you're here too, because you're definitely helping us with your input as well. Samurai said, I know a guy who trades a system based on sentiment. He waits 90% plus sentiment, then uses the MACD signal for entry. Damn, that's crazy. So yeah, I've seen some people do that too, where they wait for sentiment to go like crazy high, and then they just take the opposite move, which it does work well, but you're just gambling at that point, right? There's really no strategy at that point. You're just like praying that price will go the other direction. And I mean, it does work well. So like, let me see, for example, here, let me see if I could find one. If you guys have anything in mind with the sentiment, let me just go to the, I think it was my FX book sentiment, right? Sentiment. So we'll just look at something here real quick. We'll look at a sentiment that's actually like super like offset. And then what I used to do before too is I could do the same thing, and then I would just do the opposite, right? So like, for example, here, so that's only 65%. We want something that's like big. Okay, so GJ is 84% short. That might be a good one. Euro odd is super long. Okay. Oh, this is, okay, so odd cat is, I don't understand why odd cat is so short. Damn, 100% of people are short for a euro, Turkey, fuck, I forgot what it's called. Lirish? I forgot what the currency is. Sorry, Alkin, if you're in here. I know you're from Turkey. I just butchered your currency. But yeah, anyway, so let's see. The highest one over here looks like odd CAD. It's like 91%. So odd CAD has 91% of people short. So just looking at that little strategy that Samurai mentioned, you know, we can go over here to yeah, so if that many people are short, look what's happening. So like for odd CAD right here, right? I just showed you guys, it's 91% of people are short. Look what's happening here. It's doing the complete opposite and going long, right? So whenever I buy signal, if the sentiment is that off, like say there's 90% of people short, every time I get a buy signal, I'm just gonna take those buy signals. So right here, buy signal, full TP, buy signal, full TP. And then now I just wait for another buy signal, and then just wait for that, and then full TP again. So that's one way to do it. And it does work, guys. Like, don't get me wrong, it does work. It's just a risky way of trading. Let me see if there's anything else here that we can look at. And you guys can see how easy it is, right? Because these momentum signals, these are indicating that momentum is swinging in that direction. So obviously, if that's the direction of momentum, then yeah, I would just keep trading that way. Let's see if there's anything else here. I want something that's high, like around 90%, 90. Okay, so ODJPY has 89% of people short. So let's go to ODJPY real quick. So same thing here, right? So there's so many people that are short ODJPY. 89% of people are short. Can you believe that? That's crazy. So with that many people short, I just take every buy signal. So like, for example, here, you get a buy signal on the 9th. I'm taking a buy there, or it'd probably be a little bit wider. Stop loss would have to be a lot wider because this is ODJPY. It'd probably be like a 50 pip TP stop loss. So if you take that trade there, obviously, on its way to full TP. Again, right here, another buy signal. Another one right there, full TP. Another buy signal right here, another full TP there as well. So there's a couple ways to trade it. I mean, you can use the momentum pullback strategy as well. So for example, if the momentum is like, the momentum is super high, so like for example here for ODJPY, when it's so short like that, you can do this as well. Whenever you get a sell signal, just place a buy stop like right there, and it'll just trigger it whenever it goes up, right? So for example, right here, if you had a sell signal right there, I would just put a buy stop right here. So as soon as it reaches, it triggers your order and it just goes straight up, right? So that's like one way to do it. I mean, there's a ton of ways to do it. if you guys want to, like, whoever has access to the indicators and you guys want to do a one-on-one session with me, I can go over this with you, because this is a strategy that I used to use a lot in the past too. Let me see if there's another one here. Odd NZD. So odd NZD, 92% of people are short. So if that's the case, then I'm going to go long for odd NZD, and that's perfect because we have a long position for odd NZD right now anyways. So you can see here that so many people are short, but if you take every buy signal, I mean, you're like in the money every single time, right? Right there, full TP. You just do the opposite of what everyone's doing. If everyone's selling, you buy, and then you have like straight wins right there. Like literally, these are all straight TPs. So actually, yeah, that's a great input right there. Samurai, I'm glad that you mentioned the MyFX book, because I'm actually going to start using that strategy. I want to bookmark this, and then I'm going to start using this for my own trading, because this is actually really good. CAD/JPY again, 92% of people are short. So if everyone's short CAD/JPY, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go long. I'm going to do the complete opposite. Let's see. CAD/JPY. Jeez, look at this right here. So you can see here on the IG sentiment that there's a, and this is actually better. I actually like MyFX book, because this is going to tell you what people are actually trading, like people who are taking trades on their MyFX book. So like, for example, here, CAD/JPY is 92% of people are short, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to do the complete opposite, and I'm going to go long. So like, for example, here, you see a short position. I see a buy signal. I enter a long right there. Boom, full TP. Again, right here, long position, full TP. Again, right here, this might have hit stop loss, but let's see. Yeah, this would hit stop loss, but it's fine because, you know, you have all these other full TPs. So this is one right here, full TP. So win, loss, win, win. So you're still overall in profit overall. And I'll definitely take a look at that. So maybe this is a brand new strategy, guys, that I'll be implementing, right? Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So Raymar, it's I just Googled MyFX book sentiment, and then it'll say community outlook, and then it just shows where everyone's trading. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways to apply this strategy. Obviously, this isn't the only way, but so if that's the case, this is actually super interesting, because if that's the case, where was one that I was looking at? Odd NZD is all short, so I'm only taking buys off that. If I was to do that, this is what I would do. I would actually scalp it. So I would go here. I would go to odd NZD on the 10-minute, and I would just scalp it actually. Damn, look at that, bro. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, I would just take these buy scalps here. I mean, honestly, you don't even need the structure at this point. If you're taking like speculative trades like that, you could just take it off all the pivot. I mean, off the pivot rejections. So like, actually, no, I wouldn't take it all off the pivot rejections, because it's still it's too risky. You still would want some sort of structure there for you to take these trades. But yeah, for example, here, just looking at odd NZD right here, if you were to take these trades, let me just go over here real quick. Yeah, just looking at this here, and this is cool because like this is what I like about K2, guys. Like, you know, and I'm sure this is what you guys like about the K2 community too, is that we all share ideas here. It's not like I'm finding a secret strategy and I'm not sharing it with you guys. If I find something cool, I'm gonna share it with you guys, and then we're all gonna make money off it, right? We're all gonna profit off these trades. But yeah, just looking at this here. So for odd NZD, this is on the 11th, right? So if I was to replay this from, I don't know, from like there, I guess. And then we look at the sentiment over here. The sentiment for odd NZD is 92% of people are short, while 8% of people are long. What do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go long. I don't want to trade where everyone's trading, because majority of people flop at trading, right? So I'm gonna do the opposite of them. And then for example here, so this was like yesterday or on the 10th actually. Every time I get a pivot entry like this right here. These are 2 pivot entries right here. When I see that, I take my long position right there, right? I think what's the sweet spot for this? Like 15 pips, I guess. Or if you're doing some quick scalps, it's going to be like a 10 pip move, right? Just depending on how you're scalping it. So if you do that, let's see, yeah, it obviously hits full TP eventually. Right there, it hits full TP. And there's a bunch of scalps that you could take. There's like a whole bunch. Every time price rejects off the pivots right here, it's some crazy scalps. I probably wouldn't do it on the 10-minute though, because it's just too messy. But there's a bunch of entries right here. All these like rejections off the pivots in the structure. When that happens, you can enter a bunch of long positions here. So you can enter a long position right there, full TP, long position right there, full TP, long position right here, full TP, long position right here. And you guys can see it adds up, right? If you just add up like 10 pips per trade, that's like 100 pips after 10 scalps right there. And there's a ton of opportunity right here, right there. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, like 13 trades there you could have taken for some scalps. And this right there, let me see. CT said, CT said, this fucking pair, I'll take it. CT said, I may never trade EA again, check Telegram. So I checked Telegram right here. And wow, look at that. Congrats with that, freaking CT. Me and CT were holding this trade for so long. The past, what was it, like the past like 3-4 days now? So we were holding this trade, and then I exited in profit because I was just not trying to mess with it anymore. CT held on to it. Look how much he made. 4,641 off my euro odd trade that I called on Sunday, I think. So I've been holding on to it for the entire week. So congrats to that, CT. But yeah, no, definitely that was a messy move. We held on to that trade for so long, and I hate holding trades for that long. So I mean, all in all, at least it played out. I made profit off it too, so I'm not complaining. But definitely, yeah, Monday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, 4 days. 4 days holding that trade. Let me check actually. So we have a couple of positions still active. Odd NZD. It's like pulling down a little bit, but I already closed out of this, so I'm in profit. So that's good right there. And then this is the one that CT. Wow, look at that CT. It's finally on its way to full TP, right? I was thinking about entering it for a small scalp just to catch the rest of the move right here, but I wasn't going to risk it. Not for 13 pips. Yeah. All right, cool. So let me go back to this over here. I was just looking at odd NZD. Like I mentioned, you know, if there's a lot of people that are short, you can just take all of these buys, like literally all these buys right here. You can just take them as they keep appearing. Or if you don't want to trade on the 10-minute, you can even go on the 30-minute. So if I go back over here, let me just go back to US 30. I'm going to leave it on there real quick. Leave that on there. And then go back over here on the 30-minute for odd USD. This is, I mean, odd NZD. This is probably going to be a lot smoother. Yeah, this is way smoother. Look at this. On the 30-minute. This is where I would actually scalp it. Damn, look at these moves. I'm just drawing these zones here so I can show you guys. But there's a ton of entries here, guys. If you guys were to scalp this. For Forex, I usually like to scalp on the 30-minute because it's way too noisy on the 10-minute. It makes it like almost impossible for you guys to really catch trades. Especially if your spread's too wide, you know, and normally everyone's spread is somewhat wide. It's not that tight unless you're using an institutional broker like LMAX. All right, so just looking at odd NZD right here, I'm gonna turn that off. And then if we just replay from, I don't know how far should we replay from? I guess you're playing from like this point. So like I was mentioning, when the sentiment is super high, like I mentioned over here, the sentiment for odd NZD, if everyone's short right here, we can take some scalps in the opposite direction. So if everyone's short, I'm going to take some long positions, right? So looking at odd NZD right here, you can see that what we look for when we scalp is we look for a rejection off the K2 pivots and a rejection off the structure. With that said right there, we enter a long position right here. And I think the sweet spot for odd NZD is like 30 pips, I believe, right? Or something like that. So 30 pips right there. We let that run. I mean, it takes a while, but then I think it does end up hitting TP eventually, right? Yeah. So it hits TP right there, right? Or almost. There we go. So it hits TP right there. That's one full TP. And then there's like more entries over here as well. So like there's another one right here with this red one. Long position right there, another 30 pips. And you guys can see how, how this adds up, right? It adds up after you take X amount of trades. There's another one right there, full TP, another 30 pips. And then just looking over here, there's so many other entries. There's like another entry like right here. Take a long position right there, another 30 pips right there as well. And it just keeps adding up. So yeah, this is a great find for us today, because this is probably something that I'm gonna start looking at. Maybe I'll look at this like on Sundays before market open, and then we'll just have a bias. So we'll just trade the opposite of what everyone else is trading. If everyone's going long, we're gonna take some shorts. If everyone's going short, we'll take some longs. But this is amazing right here. Right there, another full TP. And then, I mean, there's a couple more right here as well. Another one right there. Another 30 pips, and so on. You guys get the gist of like what we're looking for here, right? For another full TP right there. And those are like 3 back-to-back full TPs, and there's another one right here as well. So like you think about it, you take like, 10 of these trades and whatnot, because it keeps going up. And it's funny because so many people are short, but it just keeps pushing up higher and higher, right? Like a ton of people are short and everyone's just losing their money. This is just literally everyone's entering short positions, and they keep getting tricked up. Because like right here, for example, if you saw this, I guess a lot of people would have thought that this is the high, and then they would have thought it was coming down. So at this point, they enter their short positions, and then they end up getting stopped out as it shoots right back up. So if you guys think about it, if you guys took all these positions here for odd NZD, and there's a lot of positions here that you could have taken. For example, right here, they try to fake people out again right here. They drop it a little bit, and then it spikes all the way back up, right? That's crazy. I'm trying to think how many people got screwed off this, because there's so many people that are short for odd NZD. So for example, if you're taking this trade and then you take a 30 pip scalp, like say you take a 30 pip scalp each time, you take like what, 15 trades times 15, that's 450 pips just scalping a odd NZD, the opposite of everyone. So that's something I'm gonna start working on this week too, guys. So like, you guys know me, I'm always looking for new strategies. I'm looking for new ways to make money all the time. And when I do, I share them with you guys here in K2. So, if you guys sit in on my live sessions, you guys will probably find new things every single day, because this is what I like to do. This is fun to me. I like to look at charts. I like to read charts. I like to make money off it. And it's a continuous process. It's like solving a new, puzzle every day. But yeah, no, for sure. So that's one right there. So I think that's what we'll do. So like on the Sunday weekly chart analysis, I'll probably pull this up first, and then we'll probably, take a look at what's like 90%. We'll just trade the opposite of everybody. Cause yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's pretty much how the market works. All right. But anyways, let me go take a look at the chat real quick, see if I missed anything. So let me go up the list over here and see what we, see what else we got over here. Samurai said, insight to how the trader mind thinks. You have it or you don't. K2 has it. For sure. Good mindset, buddy. Yeah, no, definitely, Samurai. Thanks for that. You just have to think of it like you're playing a game of chess. It's like literally it's a game of it's solving a puzzle every day, and it's fun to me. So that's why I keep doing it. Anyways, all right, let me go back and take a look at the chat real quick. We have a couple questions above here before we continue. Ferris is asking, is there a sell signal for gold? So let me just pull up gold real quick. Gold's right here. So which time frame are you looking at, Ferris? I can pull it up depending on which time frame you're looking at. But I mean, we have a previous sell for on the 4-hour, which happened like on February 9th. So we still have that sell signal for that right there. I'll go on the shorter time frames. I don't know if that's, if you're looking on the shorter ones. On the 1-hour, we have a buy signal. And then on the 30-minute, we have a buy signal. So on the shorter time frames, it's a buy signal. Obviously on the 4-hour, it's the longer time frame. So it might be prepping for a buy, like a buy signal might appear. Let's look at the dollar index again. So the dollar index is still dropping. As it continues to drop, gold is probably going to continue to push up. Yeah, so gold's right here. So yeah, as it continues to drop, gold's probably going to keep pushing up. So we don't have a buy signal right now. It's a sell signal on the 4th, but on the shorter time frames, generally the 4th is the laggy time frame, right? Because on the 1 hour, these are like 4 candles within that 1 4-hour candle, and this is probably going to push up because we do have a buy signal here. We also have a buy signal on the 30. So I think what's going to happen here is this will probably reject off the structure and it'll probably bounce off it right there. So I definitely think gold is probably going to push up higher and higher. Meanwhile, especially because the dollar index is just getting weaker and weaker as we speak. So that's pretty much it for that. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, I just saw your thing, Faris. So Faris said, never mind, got out of gold. I was holding 200 USD loss for 20 minutes till it finally showed some decent profit. Hate Fridays. Yeah, same here. I don't really like trading on Fridays, guys. That's why I'm not really trading much. I'm just, answering your questions and analyzing stuff because it's just too risky to trade on a Friday. Even though I did take a stupid trade over here that I probably shouldn't have taken, but it's all good. It happens. Okay, anyways, let me go back to the chat real quick. Billionaire Mindset said, can you please look at Nasdaq 100 on the 15-minute? So let me pull that up next. So we have the Nasdaq 100 on the 15-minute. So I'll delete this off the chart, delete this off the chart, go on the 15-minute. Here's the naked chart right here. I'm gonna turn on the K2SRs. And I'm gonna draw my zones real quick. So we have a zone right above here. We also have a zone right here. We have another zone right there. Another one right there, and then a couple more down here as well. So there's a lot of zones that are really close to each other. We could probably connect them together, but I'll just leave them separate for now. So just looking at Nasdaq 100 right here, I mean, obviously it's like within this zone. It hasn't broken above it in a while. Last time it broke above it was like on the 9th, so earlier this week. But yeah, let me look at it from a scalp perspective because obviously, the other perspectives aren't really playing out right now. I'm gonna turn on the pivots right quick, and then we have this right here. Obviously, price is above the pivots, so Nasdaq is definitely in an uptrend right now. You guys can see here if I zoom out. Basically, when price is above the pivots, it's trending up. When price is below, it's trending down, trending up, trending up, trending down. So right now, currently, Nasdaq is bullish and it's trending up currently. So for this, I mean, there's no entry right here on the 15 yet. What we would need is we would need a rejection off a pivot and a structure. So let me see if I could find an example here. Because we're looking for a buy, right? So if we're looking for a buy, I'll find an example here for a buy. Applying this strategy, probably like when the market is not moving erratically. So let's see. Okay, so here's a perfect example right here. So you can see prices above the pivots. They're kind of coming down, but they're still angling. So this is a strong uptrend right here. Right here, we have the rejection off the pivot and the structure. So once that happens right there with the rejection off the pivot and structure, we enter a long position right here. And then from that point, obviously you let it run, and then it ends up hitting TP right away right there. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a rejection off the pivot and the structure. So looking at current price over here, we don't have the rejection off the pivot or the structure yet. This would have to come down slightly to reject off the pivot right there, something like that. And then once that happens, then you can take your long position and then write it upwards, right? But until that happens, we're probably going to hold off. There's some breaking news right now for Trump. So let me pull up the CNBC real quick. So breaking news, Trump's legal team sets out to defend former President Trump in day 4 of Senate trial. So this is his trial is coming up right now, guys. So this is probably going to mess with the market. Hopefully they say something and it just tanks US 30 because that's our only hope right now before the market closes. But yeah, so they're about to start his trial, his day 4 of the trial right here. So everyone's shitting on Trump right now, literally everybody. Trump let us down, former UN ambassador Nikki Haley says. So yeah, it looks like this is going to affect the market. It's breaking news. It's just starting right now. And we'll follow the updates. But yeah, hopefully that affects the market and it just tanks US 30 so that we can make some profit and I can get out of that trade. But yeah, other than that, I think that's about it for now. Let me see if there's anything else for us to look at currently. But yeah, building your mindset, that's pretty much what I saw for Nasdaq, right? I'm waiting for it to come down, reject off the structure and the pivot, then you can take a long position. But until then, I would hold off for that confirmation. Leaks said, man, I'd love to have a one-on-one. I'm still kind of new, but a good learner. Yeah, no, definitely, bro. If you have access to the K2 indicators, obviously we can get on a one-on-one session, but I only have mentoring sessions with people who have access to the K2 strategies because that's what I teach. I only teach what I'm good at. I don't fake and like try to teach stuff that I'm not good at. I only teach stuff that I'm good at and stuff that I actually apply myself, which is obviously the K2 strategies. So if you have access, you can, we can set up a session. Let's see if there's anything else here. Eric said, Barry said that US 30 was a good trade till it wasn't. Yeah, no, exactly. US 30 is all over the place. This is probably the messiest I've seen US 30 in a while. It's just bouncing around the place. It's not really doing anything. It's kind of just going back and forth. And I'm just waiting for it to, play out. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully Trump just says something and then it just tanks US 30 because that's probably what I'm waiting for. Let me see the IG sentiment again. I think IG sentiment is still the same. It's about 66%. So man, if anyone has any, anyone could tell Trump to say something to screw up the US 30, tell him that the stock market is going to crash so that it can come crashing down. Other than that, just have to deal with it. Yeah, but anyways, okay, so back to the questions over here. Let me see if there's anything else. Eric said, gold has a good scalp opportunity if it holds, not sure TP stop loss range. Look at gold scalp, your thoughts. So we've been looking at gold like all morning, Eric. I don't think it's something that I would trade right now, but let me just pull it up again. So yeah, looking at the gold scalp right here. I personally, I don't know if it's something that I would want to trade, but actually, no, it's a buy. If it's a buy, I would probably take it. But if it's a sell, probably not. So just looking at this here, there's actually an entry. That's spot on, Eric, with this. But like we talked about earlier, no, sorry. That's my mistake. So Eric, there would need to be a rejection off the pivot and the structure. So we have the rejection off the pivot right here, but no rejection off the structure. Right here, we have a rejection off the structure, but no rejection off the pivot. So I personally wouldn't take this trade right now. It just isn't, it isn't ready yet, right? Until we have that rejection off the pivot and the structure, then I would take it. But as of now, there's just there's no entry available. So that's pretty much the scalp for gold. Or actually, no, that's right. Yeah, there's no entry there. Let me go on the 30 minutes, see if there's anything here. Because you might have seen it on a different time frame. Yeah, no, same thing here, Eric. I don't see any entry here for gold. There's a rejection off the pivot, but no rejection off the structure. So it wouldn't qualify as an entry until it, comes down and rejects off this point down here, possibly. Because right here, it's just rejecting off the pivot, but nothing off the structure just yet. So I would, let's see, Eric. There's no rejection off the pivot or the structure here. They're separate. So this one right here is rejecting off the pivot. There's no structure. This one is rejecting off the structure. There's no pivot. So I'm not sure if you, honestly, I don't know what you're looking at. If you see something different, if you can confirm, I just don't see what you see here, because there's no entry here on the 10-minute. There's no entry here on the 30-minute. But you mentioned the green pivot, so I'm assuming you're talking about the 10-minute, but I don't see anything here at all. If you yeah, not sure if you see something different, or if you're on a different time frame. Are you on the 15-minute? The 15-minute here, I mean, possibly, but there's still no entry. It has to reject off the pivot and the structure. It's rejecting off the structure, but nothing off the pivot. So yeah, not sure what you see there, Eric. I mean, if you can confirm, maybe it'll help, but I don't really see anything on my end here. I looked on the 10-minute, 15-minute, and the 30-minute. All right. Anyways, let me check the other questions here, if there's anything else to look at. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Eric said he'll send me a DM in 10 minutes. I mean, I have the 10-minute open right here, Eric, so I'm not sure what you're looking at, but I'm zoomed in like as far as I can go. Let me see. I'll zoom in even closer. This is the green pivot you're talking about, but there's no structure rejection right there. And then for these right here, there's let me check real quick. Here, let me see. Maybe, yeah, maybe you have newer zones. Maybe I haven't updated mine yet. So let me just delete everything off the chart. Yeah, I don't see anything here, Eric. I'm not sure where you're getting those zones from. Are you using a different data feed? Because we use forex.com for gold, which is the accurate one. I'm not sure if you're using a different data feed, because I just drew my zones right here. I don't even have green zones in this area. So those are 2 zones right there. It doesn't line up with yours at all. Let me see. Because you have something different here. You have Awanda, so you're using different data. So you should switch to forex.com. The forex.com data is more accurate. So let me pull up Awanda. Yeah, if I pull up Awanda, it's probably going to be different. So let me just pull up gold real quick on Awanda. We use forex.com for all of our data, though. I mean, you could use Awanda if you want, but odds are you're probably not going to have, it's probably not going to be as accurate as what we're looking at. So you use Awanda over here. Yeah, so Awanda has different data. I haven't used Awanda for years, bro. Awanda you always gives out like bad data, so I don't use it at all. But yeah, if you're using Awanda data, I think you're the only one that uses Awanda data. If that's the case, then yeah, this should be an entry right here, right there. But we don't use Awanda, so I wouldn't follow this right here. I mean, you can take it. So this is how this will be your test as to whether it's good data or not. So you could take this trade here. If this ends up flopping, then here we'll keep it on US on forex.com data. If it ends up not working, then you'll see which data is better or not. But I don't know, who knows? Maybe it's gotten better over the years. But I haven't used Awanda for like maybe 2 or 3 years now, maybe 4 years actually. So you took this entry right here for a buy position, and we'll just mark it up right here. If it hits your TP, then great. If it hits your stop loss, then you'll know not to use Awanda anymore. So we'll see how because this is the entry right here for the one that you took, Eric. And we'll see if it plays out. We don't know yet if it's going to play out or not. But we'll see. All right, let me see if there's any other questions here before we continue on. Nur is asking, hi guys, just found your channel. Did you trade intraday? Yeah, we trade intraday and we scalp. Nur, those are the most, that's the way that we normally trade. We trade Forex intraday, and then we trade everything intraday and trade everything scalp. But we don't swing trade. So just keep that in mind. I mean, I can swing trade, but I just don't. I don't have the patience to hold on to a trade for like a week or 2 weeks or months. I want to just know right away if I win or lose. All right, anyways, so let me see if there's anything else here before we continue on. Kimmy said, what's going on with the entries on MT4? I entered at one point, but placed me 10 pips away. Yeah, the MT4 data is 10 pips off, Kimmy. So just keep that in mind for your trades. For US 30, it's 10 pips off. I don't know how it is for anything else, because That's the only thing that I trade on MT4. Sam said, do you see a bear flag on US 30 10-minute? Sorry, I mean a bull flag. I don't trade patterns at all, Sam, so I can't really tell you if it's there or not. I guess, I mean, we can look it up to see if there's anything there. Let me see, US 30 10-minute. So you mentioned a bear flag or a bull flag you mentioned. Here, let me just, let's look it up. I don't trade patterns at all, so I wouldn't really, yeah, I guess it kind of looks like it. I mean, let me see, I'm just looking at it from here. So it looks like the way to draw a bear flag would be, I guess you start from the low from here. Yeah, I guess, I mean, this would be a bullish flag if that's how you see it. Here, I'll just delete everything off the chart. Or actually, here, this is what I'll do. I don't want to delete everything off my chart. So let's go to a clean chart over here, US 30, and then we'll go on the 10-minute. And then you mentioned a bullish flag right here. So I guess it would start from here. Yeah, I guess it would start from here, I guess. I got to do this. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, because I don't trade patterns at all, so I don't even know what I'm drawing here. I just looked up a bullish flag pattern. I mean, this is what I don't like about patterns, is that you train your eye to look for certain things, right? Like, even if it's not there, you're going to be like, oh, it's a bullish flag pattern. And then you're going to look at it. So I don't know if this would necessarily fall as a bullish flag pattern, because I think this would have to go to the high right here, right? Or something like that. It looks like it goes like close enough to the high. So I'm assuming it'd be somewhere around here. And then if you really wanted to make it look like a bullish flag pattern, like, I can make it look like it if I wanted to, right? I could just draw this here and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a bullish flag pattern. But in reality, this could be a totally different thing. It doesn't necessarily need to be a bullish flag pattern. So I personally, I mean, I wouldn't like to follow it, but I mean, if you did, I mean, I guess this looks like a bullish flag pattern to some extent. I'm just looking at it from here because I don't trade patterns at all. I just went on Google and I searched up bullish flag patterns. And I guess that's what it looks like. But I don't trade patterns at all, so I can't really tell you if it is or not. Yeah, I mean, this is why I don't like trading patterns, right? Because look, everyone has a different analysis for it. It's like, you go on Investopedia, they have this. You go on someone else's chart, it looks like a totally different pattern. So I personally don't, I don't like trading patterns at all. I feel like they're like hit or miss. And I feel like they overcomplicate trading like way too much. So just looking at that there, yeah, I don't know. These are, I mean, I could see what you're looking at, but I feel like there's so much confusion. You could kind of train your, like, if you're looking for something specific, you'll make it happen, right? If you think this is a bullish flag pattern, you're going to draw it to make it look like a bullish flag pattern. You're like, all right, there's a bullish flag pattern. Or you'll look at it this way and you'll be like, oh yeah, it's a bullish flag pattern. There's so many ways to trade, to change things to make it look the way that you want it to look. And it's just too subjective for me. I don't like trading that way. I want to trade if, like, I want to look at concrete things. But yeah, just looking at this here, I guess there is some sort of that bullish flag pattern there, Sam, if that's what you're looking for. But I personally, I mean, honestly, I don't know, because I don't know. I don't trade that way. So let me see if there's anything else here real quick. All right, so let's see if there's any other questions here before we continue. Samurai said, I'm dyslexic, can be perplexing in my comments. Too funny, bro. Raymar said, yeah, exactly. So CT said patterns are subjective. Then which time frame is, right? Zones of demand and supply. That's it, momentum and volume. And that's how I trade. You know, I trade off momentum. I don't necessarily trade any patterns, because, like, it was funny because I was looking at it yesterday and I was like, there's so many head and shoulders that you can make out in the chart. Like, you can literally look at anything. You're like, oh, here's a head, and here's a shoulder, here's a head, here's a shoulder. And then there's your head and shoulders, right? And it's not necessarily, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, right? Because there could be a big head and shoulders like this, shoulder and a head and shoulder, or there can be a small one. And you can just, like, when you're looking at patterns, they're so subjective that like you could see something and I see something totally different. That's why I don't like to trade that way. I trade off momentum. Anyways, Raymar said, when do you normally do one-on-one? So I do one-on-one all throughout the day, Raymar. Generally, it's between 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because obviously I can't do it in the morning since I have these live sessions. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to set one up, Raymar, just hit me up. Let me know a good time and date, and then we can set that up. Raymar said, I may need a couple tweaks to see what I'm doing wrong on the normal K2 strategy. I'm not confident on the scalp strategy yet. Nur is asking, what kind of strategy do you follow for scalping? We use the K2 snipe strategy, and that's what we use for all of our scalps. And I'll show you, for example, you know, what we do when we take those scalps. So I'll just go and I'll rewind to someplace over here. And then I'll just draw my zones. So what I do first is we draw our zones here using the K2SR strategy. I mean, using the K2SR indicator. So the K2SR indicator indicates all of these zones here for us. So once we have those set up, what we do is we look for a wick rejection off a pivot and a structure. So let me see, for example, right here, here's one entry. So what we look for when we scalp is we look for a wick rejection off the K2 pivot, which would be this green line right here. That's the K2 pivot. We have a wick rejection off the K2 pivot and a wick rejection off the structure right here, right? So it's a double rejection. When we see that, we enter a long position for a 500 pip scalp right there. And then we let it run. And then obviously it's TP right there. So that's one entry right there. There's another one right here. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's a very simple strategy. You just have the wick rejection off the pivot and the structure right there. The same thing, rinse and repeat, same strategy, 500 pips. You let it run. Full TP again right there, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. It's super easy, similar for us to trade here. And then again, right here, same situation, this green candle again. This green one, rejection off the wick, rejection off the structure, another long position right here. If you were to enter this position right here, you can see obviously another full TP. And it's the same thing over and over again. I mean, there's a ton of entries here. There's like another entry right here, another green one. There's two entries right there. You know, obviously another scalp right here. There's a bunch of them. There's a scalp right here. If you wanted to take this trade. And this is how we scalp. I mean, it's the same thing, do over and over again. If you want to go back and watch all the previous sessions, I do this every day. And we trade this live every day. Nor if you want to go look. Like you can literally go to any live session this week, any live session last week, any live session last year. You'll see that we keep applying the same strategies over and over again. So this one took a little longer, but it did hit full TP right there eventually. I mean, you guys can see here that this is it's basically how we trade here. So yeah, that's about it for that. I mean, that's our scalping strategy. And let me just go forward real quick and see if there's any other scalps here that are available before I call it a day. All right, so it looks like there's a scalp entry right there. Actually, no, there's no scalp entry right there. We would need the wick rejection off the structure and the pivot. And it's getting late into the market, guys, so I'm not even going to be looking for trades anymore at this point. I mean, I'm pretty much done for the week. I'll be getting the results ready for the end of week. But just looking at this here, there's actually a scalp entry right here. But like I mentioned, we weren't taking any entries at this point because of how the market was moving. So we skipped this trade here. But if you did take this trade, it's currently active right now for you guys who did take it. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for that. Let me check the chat real quick, see if there's anything else. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm probably going to call it a session today because I don't want to be tempted to take any more trades. It's already 9 o'clock. So I don't really want to, I know if I keep watching this, I'm going to enter these trades. Like this trade right here, I probably want to enter it. And it is getting close to market close. So I don't really want to enter this right here. So I'm probably going to log off soon, but let me see if there's anything else before we sign off for the day or for the week. Samurai said, I will trade most patterns when they are in the right spot, like higher time frame support resistance. I don't think you can take every pattern. You need to be selective. Exactly, Samurai. I agree with you too. And that's why I like that you look for patterns on the daily. If you're looking for patterns on the daily, that's solid. But you'll see people try to do like patterns on the 10-minute, right? And it's just noise there. It's like straight noise on these shorter time frames. So it's like really hard for you to catch it. That's why I prefer to trade off momentum. But I do like how you trade patterns on the higher time frame, Samurai, because you're pretty on point. I mean, all those times you showed me those head and shoulders, like they were so clear where I was able to draw them. And I don't even know how to draw head and shoulders. And that's how you know that that pattern actually plays out pretty nicely, especially on the higher time frame. But yeah, guys, so I think that's it for today. If you guys haven't already done it, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help. And we'll continue to keep coming live for you guys every day to give you guys trades and whatnot. Otherwise, I'm going to log off because I don't want to take any of these risky trades right now. It is Friday. Market's going to close in about 10, 11, 12, in about 3 to 4 hours. And there's just no reason for you guys to get caught in any of these trades. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys back here on Sunday for our weekly chart analysis. And I'll start looking for trades that day as well. We'll probably start to implement the new sentiment thing that we were looking at over here with my FX book. So thanks to Samurai for mentioning that. We're probably gonna look at this on Sunday, and then we'll use this to our advantage to take trades, opposite of everyone else. So with that said, guys, have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. See you guys back here on Sunday. And if you guys have any questions, just reach out to me on Telegram or on email. I have about like 300 emails to get to from yesterday. So I'm going to have my whole day set up for me today. So guys, I'm going to be answering questions all day. So if you guys have questions, just reach out to me on Telegram. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys here on Sunday.